Tour Guides. I'm Carrie.
I'm Catherine.
And I'm Bree.
And today we are taking you on a tour of Kansas City. I've never been. However, this is coming out like a month after the Super Bowl. And as a Texas Tech fan and alum, I was rooting on Patrick Mahomes. And he got robbed. His team did not show up. He still did. He still made those insane throws. But he literally was like pinpointing his receivers, and they were like, what? Boom, as they get hit in the head with the ball. So that's all I have to say about that. I'm salty.
It's not all I have to say. I'll talk about it later.
Oh, good. Because I'm really salty, and it hurts. My little soul hurts.
I literally don't care.
Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
At all. I was there. We were all there together.
Oh, yeah.
And I was eating sausage balls and cheese and
You're welcome.
not even facing the screen. Not even
You were
in the
also
same
drunk.
room.
Oh, yeah. Catherine got drunk very early on.
Well, I drank an entire bottle of red wine before I even ate the sausage balls.
Yeah.
And then you drank half
of your bottle of wine. So there was a mix-up with Carrie's wedding present, and anyways, I ended up getting 16 bottles of wine from a local winery, and that's a lot of wine, and I was just doing my part because I already paid for them, and I couldn't get a refund, and so I drank the bottle, okay? Sue me. I didn't want to watch that stupid sport anyways. I think I had the fun night.
Yeah. It wasn't a fun night for me. I cared a little too much.
Oh, literally
It
could
hurt
not
me in
even
the
tell
feels.
you anything besides the couple of memes I've seen. And I was there the whole game.
Yep.
Almost.
And the
I
weekend
remember
was the
last.
halftime show, and it was weird. Just, I don't know. I have thoughts. They're not all bad, but it was interesting.
Yeah, I don't care. I actually have been to Kansas City quite a few times. My sister went to school there. Just outside the city. She's a William Jewell alumna, I think.
Yeah.
Whatever. She went there.
She's an alum.
Yep.
And it's a beautiful, beautiful area. And I had never been to Kansas City. And I just kind of write off stuff in the Midwest sometimes. Because Bree is from there.
This is why we need to record so you all can see me flipping her off right now.
No, but really, I wasn't expecting to love it as much as I did. An incredible food scene. My sister has even more food allergies than I do, and they have like a really interesting vegan scene and a really interesting barbecue scene, which are two foods she can eat. So she can't eat any dairy, any gluten, or any eggs. So she does a lot of vegan eating because it removes eggs and dairy completely, so she doesn't have to worry about hidden stuff. And she can do meat, but it has to be pretty much plain. So barbecue's a really good bet for her without sauces, so like smoked meats and things. So I've pretty much eaten all over Kansas City. I've seen a couple of things there, and it's really neat. So I like it a lot.
Damn it. So I actually haven't been, but half of my family, probably more than half, is from Missouri, or as my grandma calls it,
Missouri?
Misery, because ain't not Missouri, Missouri, because ain't nobody want to live in misery. All right, Grandma. She got that from my great grandma. I was like, okay, Grandma.
That sounds like something from Missouri.
It's Missouri.
Yeah, it's Missouri, because nobody wants to live in misery. I actually saw my great grandma's house there. It was a big house, but it was fucking trashed when we saw it, because I mean, no one lives there anymore. It's just gone. Like, there's huge weeds all up everywhere, but it's still like in the same spot where my grandma grew up, where it's like just a tiny ass town with like a fucking hand pump in the middle of the square where you go get all of your water.
No, thank you.
No.
And like the tiny ass schoolhouse that is literally a room.
Ooh.
And everything.
You know what? I prefer my water bubbly and with alcohol.
Heyo.
Oh, Carrie, what you got there?
Oh. So there.
Guys, that was a gorgeous transition.
Yes,
My word! The execution!
Oh yeah. Well, and I waited to crack that until this moment because I wanted
It wasn't even planned. How beautiful.
So we are venturing once again into the wonderful world of beer and seltzers because we've had some really expensive cocktails recently, and I needed to give my wallet a break. So tonight...
Also,
Fair.
our livers, because
Yeah.
we can't handle last week again.
Yeah, so I gave Daisy some of that drink, and she was like, "Ooh," and then tried to shoot it, and she got drunk.
She did shoot it. I don't know how.
I don't remember
So-
Daisy getting drunk because I was already drunk by the time Daisy
right.
got drunk.
So I will say,
Yay.
as a follow-up to last week, the Raki is a lot better if you don't add ice to it. You just have chilled water.
It's very pretty that way.
Yeah. The ice makes it kind of goop up, and the texture of it gets weird. It's a lot better with just water. And it has the same effect and everything. But yeah, so that was a little reflection after last week's. Anyway, I started out with having the Boulevard, Whiskey Barrel Stout, which I covered stouts for Salt Lake. And as we remember, stouts will set you down.
Does Carrie remember Salt Lake?
I do. It's a little fuzzy.
Bree edited out most of Carrie's shit in Salt Lake.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus.
I felt very,
It's okay. We don't have
I would say passionate, but it's a very negative passionate. Because those were 11% ABV, and I did not need that in my life. But I did go ahead and just grab some little snippets about it because I went ahead and bought it anyway, and then Salt Lake happened.
Sure did.
But for that stout, you can expect flavors of vanilla, espresso, and chocolate, in addition to the whiskey flavors from it being aged in a whiskey barrel.
That sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
I like all of those things.
Oh, yeah.
But I can't drink beer, so I guess it doesn't matter to me. But it sounds nice.
Yeah.
It does.
Well, and I literally have not cracked them open because I
Are afraid?
can't bring myself to right now. Well, they're not the pint bottles.
Okay.
Because those pint bottles are so big. Oh my gosh. But Boulevard has a wide variety of beers, and so I decided to get some adventurous flavors.
Yay.
There is one beer that we are having. It is the Berry Noir Sour Ale, and then 3 seltzers. We got their seltzer brand is called Cork.
This is very cute.
Yes, and so we got the blackberry sage, strawberry, lemon, and basil, and then pear yuzu. I've already had one of the blackberry sage. It was delicious. I know Catherine had one of the strawberry, and you're drinking a strawberry.
Mm-hmm. I like this a lot.
Yeah, and then I just cracked open the pear yuzu, and I haven't tasted it yet.
This
so I'm
is
gonna
a
taste it right now.
strawberry, too. I got another strawberry, I think.
Okay, pear's nice. It's springy. I'd totally drink that in the spring.
This is summery strawberry. Oh my god, they have different seasons. Because I bet you the sage and blackberry would be very wintry.
Yeah, it was nice.
They're on to something.
Oh yeah, but yeah, I saw all those flavors, and I had a really hard time narrowing it down. So I was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna buy all of them," and so I did. But these are available year round. So if you feel like drinking pear yuzu in the fall, even though it's definitely not a fall drink, go for it.
Yuzu you.
I was gonna say, where's that damn boo? Where's that damn boo? I get booed all the time.
Did you see me? I was drinking and I thought
yeah.
of it and I almost spit out seltzer all over my
yeah.
microphone.
Catherine definitely almost just
Guys, okay, so I'm gonna overshare probably a little bit. I am euphoric right now. I was just diagnosed with another autoimmune disease. It's pretty common, called Hashimoto's, but they started me on a thyroid medication, and I am feeling better than I have in like 3 years. And I'm finally not exhausted, so I can be funny again. Yay! So get ready, because I actually have energy. It's an evening, and I'm not dying. So
Yay!
get ready, because I'm ready. I'm here, ready to go.
Oh yeah. So I'm not gonna cover seltzers because I have a feeling that that's popular enough for us to.
We'll do seltzers
Yeah,
again.
we'll get around to it. And so I'm gonna focus a little bit more.
We can
on...
do a basic bitch episode.
Isn't that every episode we do?
Not always super basic.
We're like basic, but also like a little spooky. So, or spoopy, as Colin only refers to it when he talks to our kitten when she's scared. I know it's spoopy. Oh my gosh,
I hate that so much.
she's just a baby. She gets spooped.
See, when I hear spoopy, I think of like Frankenweenie. I think that's spoopy because it's like still Disney cartoon, but I mean, a little spooky. That's
Spoopy.
whatever. So the Berry Noir Sour Ale. I pulled the description from the Boulevard website.
Every time we say Boulevard, it's a constant struggle of Sunset Boulevard and Boulevard of Broken Dreams. And so it's like a weird Patti LuPone Green Day mashup in my brain.
Man, I love both of them.
I know, it's not bad. I think you guys should do a collab.
And just call it Boulevard. That's it. Also, I really hope you picked up that nice sparkling burp I just had. It was great.
For once I'm lost for words. I walk this lonely path alone.
Alright, so the description on their website says, quote, pouring a deep purple with electric magenta foam, this brand new juicy ale features notes of blueberries and blackberries with a crisp tartness reminiscent of lemonade. A light, spritzy body amplifies the refreshing qualities of this fruited sour and begs for another sip.
I wish I had a light spritzy.
Yeah,
body.
me too.
I
Gotta get my summer bod light and spritzy.
So, the beer and all the seltzers are just 4.2% ABV. And so they are very light.
And they're safe
For
consumption.
Oh, yes. And since I'm already on number 3 tonight and I still have to drive home and it's fucking cold outside, I don't feel bad.
People are so fucking stupid right now.
I know.
Okay, first of all.
Yeah, I'm worried about our drive tomorrow.
Yeah, someone passed me doing like 90
Oh,
on
yeah.
the fucking tollway, like
Oh, yeah.
bobbing in and out of cars, and I'm like,
They're idiots.
do you see the fat ass pile up on fucking 35 in Fort Worth yesterday, you fucking idiots?
Yeah, like 133 cars or something.
Yeah.
6 dead,
Yeah.
65 in the hospital. Yeah.
This area does not have equipment to handle
No.
ice or wintry storms, and
Because
so
we don't get it often. The last time we
No.
had any sort of snow was 2015.
yeah. So it's
Well,
been
and they were saying like the snow we're expected to get on like Monday and Tuesday
Oh, yeah.
is probably going to be the most we've had since like 2011.
and is also
yeah.
supposed to break records of temperature.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to be down to like
-2.
-1 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So it's a crazy town.
Well, you know what will warm you up?
Alcohol.
Alcohol. So, sour ales have been around for centuries, tracing back to the Trappist monks. What?
Sour. I just don't like that word.
I'll talk about what... Yeah. Yeah.
It's like a moist situation for me.
Why? Why?
I can just say sour. How my grandma says it.
Sour.
That milk's sour.
Ugh.
Kansas.
You're welcome.
Kentucky.
Kentucky. Yeah.
Okay.
They're all
Close
the
enough.
same.
It's in the middle of the country. It's fine.
Counts.
There's probably wheat somewhere.
Yeah. But these sour ales have now become this...
Payback for using the M word.
Yep. But they've become this fun, quirky craft beer and come in all sorts of fun flavors. So we've talked a little bit about beer before and how the hops and malts can give it their signature flavors. But for sour ales, a few bacteria types are used. You're going to cringe all the way through this. So the lactobacillus bacteria creates lactic acid that gives a clean, tart flavor, and the Pediococcus bacteria brings a funkier
Where
flavor
are you
to
putting your cock, Gary?
Heyo!
Up
Gross.
the petticoat.
But it brings a funkier flavor to the lactic acid.
Oh, funkier. Ew. I'm so glad I can't drink beer.
Well, we've talked about these two already
I
in our
know.
Berliner Weisse episode with Berlin.
Yum.
And so those are the two that create that tart flavor.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And then there is the Acetobacter that can be used to make sour beers, but it's actually the bacteria that turns wine into vinegar, so you could expect more of a vinegary taste with it. And then finally we have the Brettanomyces.
What was that?
The Britons.
It's Brettanomyces.
Breton wise? I don't fucking know. I got lost halfway through because
Bret-
once you get too many letters, I forget.
Brettanomites?
That sounds like a cool
Sure.
race of people from space.
Well, it's a wild yeast. So...
I take it back, aliens. My bad.
But it's a wild yeast that gives a drier, funky flavor.
I don't know what's worse, funky or dry funky.
Well, and that's just what they describe it as, because
I
all
know,
the
but, like-
resources I've
But funky reminds me of like Fromunda cheese.
No.
Nastiness.
But again, it's similar to vinegar from the acetic acid it creates. Not
Gotcha.
lactic, acetic. It's the unique combination of these that create the base flavor for these sour beers. Due to these bacteria being used, it's a bit risky for brewers to have multiple types of beers going in the same fermentation tanks because these bacteria don't really play nice. And so they really don't want to use the same tanks for these sour beers as they would like an IPA or a lager because it could taint it. No one wants tainted beer.
No. So many words I don't like in this segment today.
Do you not like taint because taint here nor there? The gooch.
I did not know what that word meant until like probably last few months, and someone had to explain it.
It was me.
Yes, it was us on this podcast.
Was it on this podcast?
Yeah, it was me. I was sitting over there where you're sitting while we were recording.
Oh.
And then you went out. I think it was the cream corn episode because you went out and told Colin and Zach.
That was a zinger.
So there are different types of sour ales. According to the Beer Judge Certification Program,
Ooh.
there are 10 different styles, one of which is the Wild Specialty beer.
Wild
I'm like, ooh.
I wonder what mustache qualifications, like the facial hair qualifications to get your beard judge certification.
Yeah.
I bet you there's like a please submit photo of facial hair.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not weird enough, you don't get
Yeah.
to have this
Yeah.
certificate. And if you're a woman doing it, they're like, what color is your hair?
Yeah.
Is it a weird color? Do you have a part shaved?
Are you talking about as a brewer? Like they can't qualify for this thing?
As the judges.
Yeah, for the judge.
Gotcha.
Like to
The
be a
judge
beer
is
judge.
specialty beers.
Okay.
I bet you.
So the categories are lambic, fruit lambic. I don't know how to say this one. I'm going to butcher it. Sorry, I'm also burping
Okay,
a lot
so
because there's...
another interjection.
Uh-huh.
Because I may owe you an apology. The only beer I've ever liked was a lambic.
Yeah.
It was a raspberry lambic.
Oh, yeah.
And
Well, I
it
keep
was
trying to get my
delicious.
mom to drink
It's
them.
so fucking good.
Yeah.
I keep
That
trying to
was
get my mom to
before I
drink a
found out I was
raspberry
allergic.
lambic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's delicious.
Backyard bar, what?
So good.
But yeah, we keep trying to get her to drink a raspberry lambic. It's been sitting in her fridge for like probably 4 years.
It's so good.
I know. She refuses. If it has the word beer, ale, anything in the title, she won't drink it. She refuses. She'll like take a little sip. Oh, ugh, that's gross.
It doesn't taste like beer because I don't
No,
usually
it-
like
I know.
beer.
It's very...
The sour ale doesn't either. It tastes like one of these. You should try it later.
Okay.
Yeah.
I always try things. At
Yeah.
least I cannot always.
If it has berries in
finish
it,
them.
Brie typically
Oh,
Yeah.
I
likes
love
it, though.
berries. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because she liked the Berliner Weisse too.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of, Berliner Weisse is a sour ale. It's not Mitschus, though. You like the Mitschus.
I just like the raspberry shit you made me.
That's the
The
Mitschus.
shoes.
Oh.
Mit means with, shoes is
Oh, that's
shot
right. I
of
forgot that.
syrup.
Yep.
Yeah. But the one that I can't pronounce is Gueze.
Queasy.
Jeezy.
Gueze.
Queasy.
There's the Flanders Red, which right now is TMEA, and I just heard a song called In Flanders Field that I love, and it's so sad. There's the Oud Bruin. The Brett beer, and the mixed fermentation sour.
Yeah.
So, lots of different things
They're
here.
fun until that last one.
Mixed fermentation.
Yeah.
So according to the Boulevard website, the Berry Noir Sour Ale pairs well with creamy cheeses like macaroni and cheese, mixed greens and citrus salad, strawberry shortcake, balsamic glazed pork chops, and cheesecake with fresh berries.
Yes.
On
Those
about
are-
all of it?
Those are all good pairings. Like, all
Yeah.
those food sounds nummy.
Yeah.
Sounds
I'm about
yummy.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of food, I would like to first by giving a shout out to my dad.
What up, Joe?
Hi, Joe.
Joe has been cooking meats far longer than I have. I don't typically like cooking meats, and he's been making pulled pork for a very long time, and it's always been very tasty, and he loves barbecue, so we've been everywhere trying barbecue. And so Jack Stack's is a very famous Kansas City barbecue joint that I've eaten in quite a few times. So I started from there, and I actually ordered their spicy barbecue sauce, which we like
so
spicy
good.
foods, and their sauce is excellent, and I actually had it shipped to Texas from Kansas City so I could use a local, it's the pandemic, let's help out some smaller businesses. So I ordered that. It's not smaller, it's like super famous, but I ordered that, and I made a pulled pork, which is pork shoulder, or sometimes called pork butt, boneless, and I made it in the crock pot, like Joe, and and we had pulled pork, and then I made macaroni and cheese as a side, because barbecue is very important in Kansas City because of its location. It was a major stop on meat packaging and meat processing along cattle drives. So it's a huge meat industrial city. I know we talked about the meat industry in Chicago, didn't we? Because I talked about it.
And Dallas?
And Dallas, yes. So
those are big meat stops.
So another meat stop would be Kansas City. And we're being very vague. There is Kansas City, Missouri, and Kansas City, Kansas. We are aware. We're pretending like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So
we don't discriminate here.
We know. If
We'll also talk about them separately and as one in my section to kind of explain. So we're
but
we
are aware. But so we did pulled pork with a side of mac and cheese for like a kind of classic barbecue. And for dessert, we had some Russell Stovers, which is headquartered in Kansas City, Missouri. And it's almost Valentine's Day. It's on Sunday, and we're recording this on Friday. So that's pretty fun that we were able to do like a little candy throw in. Because Russell Stovers is still one of the top chocolate Valentine's boxes that's available.
Oh yeah, my school got us, they got a big box for our front office.
I got myself one like a month ago. It's fine.
They're like super, super famous for Valentine's Day, so that was fun. So Kansas City barbecue people, and I am by no means like a barbecue person. There are people who dedicate their lives to barbecue. Meat and I are kind of so I will enjoy it. I know when it's well prepared, but it's hard to see. So Kansas City sauces are kind of sweet and thick, and it's typically made with tomato. With tomato, molasses, brown sugar, and it's brushed on immediately after. In a lot of cases, and so Texas barbecue typically uses
We cook it with it.
Yes, and it typically uses the fat of the meat as the flavor. And then barbecue sauce is served on the side. So it's different. But I really like Kansas City barbecue. Growing up in the Northeast, typically it would be more of a Kansas City style sauce that you could get when you got a barbecue sauce. It's a little bit thicker. It's a little bit richer, sweeter. But there's also Memphis style, which is more dry meat with spice rub. So I meant there's explicit stylistic differences that I'm not going to go into, but know that Kansas City's typically are thicker with a molasses, brown sugar,
I'm gonna take
tomato.
over Carrie's line this episode. I like them real thick and juicy.
Yes, but it was delicious. I'm very proud with how it turned out.
It was really good.
It was really good.
Yeah, and
I'm picky about
Good flavor.
meat.
Yeah, but it was good, and it was very simple. And now we have a ton of leftovers, so thank you.
Feed the family.
Yeah, it really does. So it was a pleasant experience overall, and it cooked all day. So Colin had to help me by throwing it in the crock pot for me because he had a snow day today.
Rude.
I know.
Well, I mean, considering he was going
towards the big, massive pileup, and he is over an hour drive, so I'm very glad he didn't have to, but still. Yeah, so it was fun doing the research, and people know about Russell Stovers, which it was founded in Denver, but the headquarters is now in Kansas City, and it's very nice. So we had a nice little meal.
Yep.
As Catherine mentioned, I'm going to first address is it Kansas City, Missouri, or Kansas? And the answer to that for me is going to be both.
Yes. The answer is yes.
So Kansas City, Missouri goes back to John McCoy founding the settlement of Westport in the 1830s. Johnny Boy picked this particular area to start a store for pioneers on the Santa Fe Trail, and then he established a landing for boats on the Missouri River on the bluffs in the bend there, which led to further development in that area. And in 1838, McCoy and a group of 13 other investors formed the Town Company to buy the property along the river front, including the Riverboat Landing, aka Westport Landing. In 1850, all of this land was incorporated and became the town of Kansas, which came from the Kaw, or Kansas River, named after the Kansas Indians. In 1953, however, Missouri incorporated the area as the city of Kansas, and it was later renamed Kansas City in 1889. Did you catch all that?
Yeah.
That it had almost more names than a Texas road, and for those of you unfamiliar with roads in Texas, they all have like 5 different fucking names for the same goddamn road.
Oh, yeah.
And people wonder why I get lost. Right? People wonder why I get lost and have no clue where I'm going, like, ever.
Well, like, I grew up with one street. I'm not going to say which one it is, just because it's North Texas, and you could probably pinpoint me pretty easily if I used them. But I knew that it ran, like, all the way east to west. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh yeah, it just keeps going. Like, I've had stuff on the far east side of it. I've been over on the far west side. You're tapping my... You need something? No, she's tapping my foot. And then I moved. And I live on that same street. But it's called something different. So I didn't realize when I first moved that it was the same street until I went straight through the light and I didn't turn. I was like, where am I? I'm on this road. And it scared me, and I've lived here my whole life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as an import,
they like to change names, and sometimes they're not even official.
Oh no!
Sometimes everyone just calls them, and sometimes there'll literally be a sign at 1 mile marker, and the next mile marker it literally changes the name.
That's
and
what
you have. If you're not from here, you literally don't know.
See, guys, it's not just me.
No, it's not.
No, it's all of us.
All right. So y'all are probably wondering, okay, but what about Kansas City, Kansas?
Kansas City, Kansas.
Shut up.
The infamous matron of Kansas
around
City.
the same time that all of this was taking place in Missouri, settlements were also developing across the river in Kansas's Wyandotte County.
Sure.
Yeah.
Some of the smaller towns were also incorporating, and they did so as Kansas City, Kansas in 1872. And in doing so, the city leaders were able to capitalize on Kansas City, Missouri's success.
It really is about Kansas City, Kansas.
Success across the river. Not to mention the good folk of Kansas City, Kansas may have felt they were more entitled to the name than the people of Kansas City, Missouri, all things considered.
So I just realized that I left out a beer on my list earlier. Because I couldn't think of how to say it, so I skipped past it. You can skip past this.
Okay. Anyway, to answer the initial question, they're 2 separately incorporated cities, but combined, they and some other cities and suburbs make up the Kansas City metropolitan area. So the answer is both.
Yeah.
They're separate, but they are also combined.
Different, but the same.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay.
So I'm having a really dumb moment right now, and I just... My brain's so tired.
You're good.
Yep.
All right. So prior to all of this shenanigans in the settlement of Westport, Kansas City dates back to the early 1800s with fur traders arriving via the Missouri River who then built their cabins along the river. Now, jumping forward a little bit, since Missouri was a slave state and Kansas was a free state, the time period leading up to the Civil War was bloody intense in Kansas City. One of the bloodiest battles west of the Mississippi, the Battle of Westport, took place in today's Forest Hill Cemetery and Luce Park. This will affect how the city is divided in terms of who lives where when the Union wins, because the Southerners prefer to live on the east side of streets with names like Walnut, Oak, and Locust, while Northerners preferred streets like Broadway, Pennsylvania, and Washington on the west side. Which tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah. And following the Civil War, the first bridge across the Missouri River, as well as a number of railways...
The Missouri River.
Missouri. As well as a number of railways were built, and with them, the city's population increased rapidly, and downtown was developed to accommodate the increase in population. At 4th and Walnut, the city market became the spot to be for trade amongst the people, and the Richie Riches built their mansions on Quality Hill. So
Quality Hill.
Quality.
Yeah. They weren't feeling
a little on the
themselves
nose.
at all.
Hashtag quality.
The cattle industry, as we mentioned earlier, was also booming with warehouses, stockyards, and packing houses in the West Bottoms. Kansas City was prospering in the late 1800s, and because of this, a lot of new buildings were built, including a lot of the iconic buildings of Kansas City.
And some really beautiful buildings.
In 1906, a lot of the modern skyscrapers were going up in the city as well. So you got a lot of all that. It also opened an amusement park, Electric Park, in 1907 to celebrate electricity. Which, can you guys imagine being alive in a time when it wasn't something you just took for granted every fucking day?
Yeah.
Like we do here in this country.
I just got my electric bill.
Sadly, in the Roaring 20s, the movies replaced burlesque.
Ew.
Bring burlesque back. Come on now.
Burlesque!
Did I tell you guys about that, though?
Which one?
About how my friend and I back home were gonna, like, once we graduated from college, we were gonna go become burlesque dancers, and I pictured myself as a thicker brunette Christina Aguilera.
Have I not shown you my Halloween costume from 2014?
Maybe. I feel like we have had this conversation before, because I feel like this is how we got there.
Maybe. I'll pull it up. I'm pretty proud of it.
It's just straight tits, Carrie. It's you. You're wearing a corseted top, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Straight up tits.
Always.
Right.
Litty titty.
Yeah.
Well, the guy next to me was... Oh, there we go.
Oh, yes, you have shown me this picture, because, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah. But with the saddening downfall of burlesque and the uprising of movie theaters, loads of neighborhoods and downtown theaters were obviously built because they had to give the people what they wanted.
Uh-huh.
So in the 30s, Kansas City was in the thick of things when it came to something I love and have mentioned multiple times on this podcast. Jazz, baby!
Ew.
Yeah!
This is also a very thick episode.
Boy.
It's nice.
This is when jazz was
My
said
jazz
to have been
ASMR.
at its best and most artistic in the city. Obviously, to cater to this amazing love of jazz, nightclubs became the places to be. And we've talked about the Depression before, somewhat on here. But while most places were obviously not doing well during this time, Tomstown, quote unquote, seemed to be doing just fine and even grew. This is due to Mayor Tom Pendergast's 10-year plan, which bankrolled a lot of major construction projects and helped to keep the economy in Kansas City afloat. Now, there may have been a bit of, quote-unquote, accidental mismanagement of the bills by the city manager for some of these projects, and taxes may have been like half of what they were for other similar cities.
You know. Little things.
Yeah, did someone say
Taxes.
Politicians?
But the taxes were so low.
But yeah, they did note that corruption ran rampant during Pendergast's term as mayor, and we're probably going to talk about him later some in lore. Yeah, he was not great.
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
What? A corrupt politician?
Right?
Oh my gosh.
That's what I said. I was like, oh, isn't that a little bit redundant? Okay, in the 50s and 60s, there was a mass exodus of the white middle class in the area to newer developed areas in the burbs just over the state line in Kansas territory. With this and the fact that blacks weren't prevented from living further south in 27th Street anymore, many moved into the residential neighborhoods east of Troost. But the blockbusting, redlining in the public school system, and unfair lending policies and housing led to further disinvestment in these neighborhoods. And those things still affect the city today. But in the past 10 years, Kansas City has worked to become a great place to work and live, including revitalizing and further developing downtown. And the city has been recognized worldwide for the Kaufman Center for the Performing Arts and the block addition to the Nelson Atkins Museum of Art.
I want to go.
Yes.
Also, Wreckham Chiefs.
Oh, we gotta talk about that next. It'll be in this fun facts section.
It was a good little segue.
We're gonna talk about it in the fun facts section. Okay, so this didn't happen in Kansas City, but the first Super Bowl was held on January 15th, 1967, when the Kansas City Chiefs played the Green Bay Packers.
Wreckham Chiefs.
Unfortunately, much like our recent Super Bowl, the Chiefs did not win.
I don't want to talk about it.
Sorry to bring it up, Chiefs fans. I'm sure both are still sore spots for y'all, as Carrie is.
I'm a Chiefs fan by way of Patrick Mahomes, because I went to school with him.
Yeah.
That's why I keep saying Wreckham Chiefs. I know that's not their saying. All you actual Chiefs fans out there who have been Chiefs fans before Patrick Mahomes, you're welcome for Patrick.
For Patrick. But, like, for real, the recent Super Bowl, part of my thing is, like, just take Tom Brady the fuck out of here. And I don't mean murder him. I just want him out because I'm sick of watching him win. I'm bored. I'm over it.
Yeah.
I don't mean murder.
I said take him out. It could mean either thing on this podcast.
No, he seems like a decent human being, but he's so boring.
Isn't he gonna get, like, massive injuries?
Yeah.
Like, his poor joints aren't gonna be able to handle it, right? I don't know anything about sports.
Oh, no.
But I do know quite a bit about joints.
But he also got shit-faced on their, like, little victory cruise, and he literally had to be, like, escorted off. Like,
he doesn't drink.
It was so funny to watch. At least Pat can take a beer, slam it, and literally just be like, yeah, afterwards. Because
that's because he lived in Lubbock and there was nothing else to do, Carrie.
And he was recently...
Our Buddy Holly Performing Arts Center is beautiful. Thank you.
Shots fired.
Shots.
Okay, next. All right.
I mean, our main spot is Broadway, which is not known for their shows. It's known for their shots. And their cheap margaritas.
Nice.
What? Jimmy's?
Cheap margaritas are a delicacy.
Do you remember Cool Beans, how they would sell, like, $6 pitchers of fucking margaritas?
Yeah.
And we just go before the games and, like, drink pitchers of fucking margs.
Oh, I never did that because I never went to a game. But
I made you go to one with me once.
And I was
get
like,
into
woohoo, halftime show! Our band.
Yeah, we're going to have to go out to Lubbock at one point and have y'all experience.
Maybe on our way to Colorado?
Space.
It'll take a couple days to get through everything.
Okay.
Because there's a couple cool spots I want to take y'all.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so the next one I think I talked about a little bit in maybe the Chicago episode. It was an earlier episode. I don't know. When I talked about Bill the Killer Miller. I'm pretty sure I talked about him before.
Well, isn't Bill Miller's a restaurant in San Antonio? Bob Miller's. I don't know.
Bob Miller's is a steak place in the east, northeast, west Texas.
We're good at directions here, guys.
Did you see me? I literally drew my little...
She did too. I watched it. Okay. This guy, though.
Okay, sorry.
He...
Bill
We're talking about his... Not Bob the goddamn builder.
No, I said Bill the Miller. Can he kill it? Bill the Miller. Yes, he can.
Oh my god. Okay. So, his criminal acquaintance, Pretty Boy Floyd.
Oh!
Yeah. Pretty Boy was given the nickname by a
Pretty
prostitute
Boy
in
swag.
Kansas City and hated it. And he...
That bitch laughing.
I know.
She said, "Ooh, pretty boy over here."
But then he probably killed her or something, so... Yeah.
She still has the last laugh. Honey, guess what? We're still making fun of him, so you can rest easy. We got you.
You're welcome.
Oh yeah, I'm going to refer to him as Pretty Boy throughout the rest of this,
Good.
just to be a spike.
Drag him. Her ghost is like, oh, bless.
But
Thank you.
Pretty Boy was believed to have been involved in the infamous Kansas City massacre, in which 4 officers were shot at a train station and ultimately ended up dying. The officers had been ambushed by a machine gun attack while they were transporting the criminal Frank Nash to prison. Shut up.
I'm sorry, you're stumbling a little bit, but all of them are funny stumbles. They haven't been embarrassing. They've just been like,
For you!
I don't know. I feel like they've been kind of deliberate. Like the
Our
jokes.
listeners will love it. Right, listeners, you
Put
love
to
it.
him in prison.
They're like, oh, the pod dumbass is at it again.
I don't call you the pod dumbass.
That's me.
I don't think we have listeners who care enough to call any of us a dumbass.
Do we still have listeners
No.
at this point?
Are you there? Papa, can you hear me? Are you there?
Okay, but, Pretty Boy used his dying breath after being shot by FBI agents in a cornfield in East Liverpool, Ohio, to deny his involvement. And as someone who grew up surrounded by motherfucking cornfields, I'd be pretty pissed if I died in one.
I don't know. I feel like it's kind of like a Midwestern Gothic vibe to just like bleed out in a cornfield, right? You know, there's Southern Gothic. I'm creating Midwestern Gothic.
There's a barn that on the way to back home on the way to the airport.
She was gonna say barn. She said barn.
I'm from Iowa. What do you want from me?
There's
Bars
a
and
really
barns.
cool barn.
Because, I mean, if you live there, you want to drink all the time. No, but there's a barn on the way to one of the airports. Shut up, you bitches.
No, I'm laughing because I heard you were peeking so much.
On the side, they have American Gothic painted on the side.
Oh,
Nice.
cool.
Yeah, it's solid. Okay.
Midwestern Gothic.
Neat that you made my legs sweaty.
But while they may not have known whether he actually was involved in the Kansas City massacre, Pretty Boy did also kill a federal agent during a raid when he was in Kansas City following his crime spree with Bill the Killer Miller and Miller's ultimate demise in 1931.
Bill the Miller.
You're the worst. Alright, this next one just makes me laugh. So I saw a link to an article on History.com and it was titled, quote, How the U.S. Ended Up with Warehouses Full of quote-unquote government cheese. And the little blurb just says, July 26, 2018. Here, the cartons are seen in an underground storage warehouse near Kansas City. I don't know why, but I just thought that was fucking hilarious. I was like, serious articles, history.com, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It's like, government cheese.
It's just like cheese?
Yeah. Like, the article literally said something about... No, the article literally said something about Velveeta in it.
Cheese.
Like, it was...
government.
Velveeta's not cheese, Brie.
No, it's
Okay, you know what the fuck I mean.
I do love cheese, though. We're a cheese group here.
Oh, yeah.
We are.
I would
I'm meant
love
to
to
be
find a
French.
warehouse of cheese.
Cheese and wine,
that was my
sign
next
me up.
comment. I was like, and I had to include this because, one, we fucking love cheese on this
Yes.
podcast, and two, because it was weird and random and I could not.
Right.
I love cheese.
It pairs well with mine.
Because she got pear, guys. Get it? Get it? Pear and cheese.
Pear. I'm
And
drinking
it was
my
paired.
pear. Ha 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 ha
Okay.
ha.
Okay.
Tea.
So there's also a secret cave in Kansas City's.
I know the story.
Yeah. So
Secret.
someone just like opened an entrance to a cave that was embedded in a limestone bluff across an old brick road from the park's community center.
They were just like, Lou.
And then they just left the bitch open. And they're like, yo, secret cave. So there's also like a hidden waterfall. Let me find it somewhere.
Secret splunkers. That's what we are.
Waterfall Park and Independence. So it's just behind the Bass Pro Shop.
Midwestern Gothic.
There's a paved trail around the park that's like got trees and there's a bridge and shit. But there's a man-made hillside waterfall in like an 18-acre lake.
Huh.
People
This
can go
is
check.
literally so Midwestern Gothic. Okay, do you think we all quit our jobs and we write 3 different book series that all take place in Kansas City and they're all Midwestern Gothic styled but with different characters?
I'm down.
But which Kansas City?
We can go halvesies.
Yeah.
I call Missouri though.
Missouri.
I'm just gonna be in the river.
You're a siren. Your creature is a siren. She just lives on the muddy waters and she just like claws her way out to get beer. She's like, I in the river.
So also, Stoll Cemetery, they say might be... Oh, no, we'll come back to this. Scratch that.
The
That's
spooky
floor.
cemetery.
What?
The spooky cemetery.
Oh, it might be possessed by demons?
Yeah.
Are you talking about that?
No.
Okay, we'll come
Mine's not in Kansas City.
Okay, we'll come back to that then.
Okay.
Okay, so last thing on history, I'm out of time, but check out the article I found from Vogue titled A Guide to Kansas City, Missouri, Its History, Its Culture, and Why It's Worth a Closer Look. It's got some tips on places to stay, things to do, places to eat and drink, and...
I don't have a place to stay.
She kissed my face.
Aww. She said, now I leave. There's too much love. Okay, Stoll Cemetery. Apparently there were hauntings that started around 1965. That started with an overgrown pine tree that fell.
Oh.
And it split the gravestone of a couple who had died almost 100 years earlier. And from there, there started rumors that the couple was involved in witchcraft. Because, of course, why not? In 1974...
Was it Colin? Is this our tombstone?
In 1970... Yeah, you time travelers. 1974, the legends grew when the University Daily Kansan published a story, Legend of the Devil Haunts Tiny Town. What?
These headlines are just
killing it.
Spot on.
So they said, this is a quote from the article I'm reading, naming Stoll one of the most diabolical and supernatural places on the planet. Y'all are dramatic.
Tree?
And like
old tree.
There's like 8 people in the town. They're like, we are diabolical. Town council meeting. It's like Parks and Rec.
They also said later that Stoll was one of the 7 gateways to hell.
Yep.
And there was a hidden staircase
So
on
many
the property.
of them are in the Midwest.
That's supernatural.
I was gonna say, remember that one time Pestilence was in Davenport and you were like, hey, I'm like, yeah.
I called you and I was like, you want to
And
know?
Beth was in Chicago and I was like, it's all so accurate.
I was like,
Yep.
oh, we're actually going to talk about a song from that episode today.
oh, is it?
Yeah, the song from that episode. Oh, so excited.
Okay, but no, like for real, the Midwest are all of the gateways to hell.
The other one.
The other one.
Yeah. Okay.
Need to say stop.
Right? She's like, you're embarrassing me.
Oh my god! Isn't that Kansas?
Yes, that's why I started singing it. That's why I started doing that.
Stumbling into all of these.
Oh yeah, there's actually a Lawrence, Kansas story in here that I'm skipping because it's not.
It's super close. I know, because every time we go,
We drive.
I
When
try
I
to
drive
drive
back
there.
home,
Yeah.
y'all, we literally, it's like, oh look, it's Lawrence, Kansas.
I was like, oh, we go see where Sam and Dean's mom burned on the roof.
Right? It was the ceiling.
And then came back. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's the whole thing.
Okay, but there's a hidden staircase apparently on cemetery property that is also a portal to the underworld.
That makes
We're
sense.
going.
Of course we're going. It's
We're gonna go exploring.
a gateway to hell. Yeah. And people are like, why did you leave Iowa?
Cause it's
'Cause
hell.
all of the gateways to hell. Just kidding, Iowa people, I love you. Okay. Nita's like, bitch, you lie.
Calling you out.
Okay. Oh, and look at that. Stoll Cemetery has been featured in the show Supernatural
What?
and was visited by Nirvana's Kurt Cobain in 1992 and in 2013 Ariana Grande.
Huh.
Ariana?
I was
Yeah.
talking about her
My
today.
respect for, she's a Broadway kid, right? So,
Oh, yeah.
good for you, bitch.
You
Proud
want
of
to hear
you.
what she says?
Yes.
Is it amazing?
So she said when she told someone, she did an interview, and she told them when she visited, the smell of sulfur overwhelmed her car, and 2 weeks later, she started hearing whispers in her ear and seeing strange black matter in her room at night, end quote.
Ariana, you whip out that ponytail and you smack it. Smack it. Smack that sulfur smell right out of it. Ugh.
But helicopter your ponytail just like wafted
There you go.
away.
Ariana Grande Demon Hunter. I would watch the shit out of that show.
Oh my god, she's on Scream Queens, guys. I told you I started watching that, and it's,
Oh, shout out to Scream Queens.
yeah, so, it's great. Watch it. So up until 2002, the ruins of Evangelical Emmanuel Church were there, but they've been demolished since then.
Nope.
And the store, there are stories
Don't demolish
with
stuff.
the church
No.
itself, and they said the church was built for quote unquote wicked folk to practice their ways.
Oh.
The church was?
That's what they said.
That's like the opposite of what churches most of the time say.
They also said that there was a bottle that had an inverted cross marked on it that wouldn't break if they threw it against a wall of the church, and if it did break, the person who did the throwing would die.
So basically, don't throw bottles with inverted crosses on them, is what I'm learning
Don't throw
from this.
bottles.
Yeah. Don't litter, fuckers.
Yeah.
Recycle that.
Yeah.
Do you recycle? There's no room in my kitchen. Cereal Mom. Incredible. Art. Can't believe it took me this long to watch it.
And then show it to all of us.
Yes, like the next day. Thank you, Jack and Daisy, for a gem of a film.
Shout out Daisy. Hey.
Hi, Daisy.
So there's a Lost roller coaster
Ooh.
at
Lost?
Worlds of Fun. Lost.
I've driven past it. Annie has been there.
So the Zambezi Zinger, was a
Is that a Kanye West album?
At Daisy.
So it was a toboggan style roller coaster, and it was from like the original coasters in
That's a death
'73.
trap.
Yep.
And they took it down in 1997, so 73 to 97. So there are a bunch of urban legends that surround that ride.
Of course there are.
Yeah.
Some people say it was dumped into the Missouri River after an unfortunate incident.
Oof. Our Six Flags has had multiple deaths in the past
yeah.
year, so we're not really judging. We're just
We're just oofing
The
along
fact
with it.
that we still have the ride, like they updated the ride, but we
They were like,
still...
it's fine. I was like, there's her blood all over this.
Yeah.
So probably. She like died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job, Texas.
Yikes.
Okay. Oh, this is a fun quote. And by fun, I mean terrifying.
Oh.
Quote, it was so unique. There weren't a lot of coasters like that with open restraints. End quote.
I wonder why.
Again, quote, it was sort of a rite of passage for couples riding it, sitting really close together, which adds to some of the memory making. End quote.
Ew.
Yeah, because you gotta cling to each other to not fly out and fucking die.
Ew.
Hey, we survived! We're gonna make it!
Now you're gonna go fuck because all that adrenaline
Yeah.
and fear.
Well, there's just a shack off to the side of it.
Ew.
Never know.
I don't like. Oh god, I bet you the floors were like.
Shack.
Ew. Ew. I hate all of this.
Thank you. It's make
I got
Catherine
me a
cringe.
car, it's as big as a whale. That's my favorite part. And it's about to set sail.
To the love shack.
Little shack, baby. Carrie to the funny voice. Love shack, baby.
To the love shack. We're killing it, guys.
We had a lot of diversity there. I think it was good.
Yep.
A lot of vocal diversity.
Okay, also there are lots of speakeasies, modern speakeasies.
I'm about to do Rock Lobster next, so get ready. Rock Lobster.
Why is this what we need
Rock Lobster. Dun, dun.
And her hair is moving.
Oh yeah, my hair is like massive right now.
It really lends to the whole lobster image.
Yeah.
Because it moves. It's got movement. And
That's life.
It's because I took a nap and like, woke up and I only took out one of my ponytail holders and was like, the other one's still in there somewhere. I don't know.
Okay, but yeah, modern day speakeasies. So obviously we're gonna have to go.
Yeah.
Okay, what else we got? Oh, Pendergast, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Which, wasn't that, her name? Yes, and she's the man. 12th Night, what? Olive Pendergast. Nope, Easy A.
Yes.
Still Amanda Bynes.
No, Easy A is not Amanda Bynes. It is
Amanda Bynes is in it.
Yeah. She's
Olive
the church girl.
Pendergast is...
Yeah.
because it's Emma Stone.
Emma Stone is
the
the
main
main
character. Yeah, but Olive Pendergast...
People say I look like Amanda Bynes in my face.
A little bit.
She's real skinny, so I can't see it.
So allegedly he hid a bunch of dead bodies in the concrete floors of buildings all around Kansas City, Missouri.
You know. That's not gonna haunt the
Just
shit out of your city.
Sprinkling them around.
Yeah, it was apparently his political enemies, and I guess he
Oh.
buried them underneath
At least he had a reason.
Brush Creek concrete.
Oh, you know.
Mm-hmm.
A kissing and a hugging.
So Oh yeah, and one of this is from 2 years ago, so this is Reddit.
Oh, what up, Reddit?
Reputable sources, guys.
Just ask our freaking economy how reputable it is, right?
That's because they decided to intervene. Robin Hood.
Huh. Yeah. Yeah. But
Talk about taken from the rich.
yeah, no
Or would be rich.
shit. About 2 years ago on Reddit, someone posted to add to the Pendergast tale that one of his largest buildings, the Bannister Federal Complex, was being demolished at that time, and they said if ever there was a chance to find a body, it would be now. So I wonder
like going into it being like, "Oop, here we go. Let's see what happens."
Let's see if we can find a body. Are you finding a body, Nita?
I hate that.
She was just trying to dig in the carpet.
Maybe that's why I'm allergic to this room. I'm sensing the corpse.
Yeah.
But also, Pendergast was involved in a lot of, like, ignoring prohibition laws and shit.
I meant us too.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know. We would totally ignore prohibition laws.
Obviously.
Don't want nothing but a good time. I'm gonna go get another bevy.
Okay.
Oh, I'm gonna grab another one, too.
I need another bevy. I am now drinking the yuzu pear, and I actually think I even like it better than the strawberry.
And I'm not drinking the strawberry, and it's quite refreshing. Very summery.
I think that they're my favorite seltzers I've had. Hard seltzers.
They're good.
They're not really malty.
Prue's looking at me while she's paying.
She is. She's making direct eye contact.
She's just staring me down.
She said, "Protect me, Aunt Carrie.
Okay.
Don't let them sneak up on me when I go potty. I'm just a baby."
She's just a baby. But she was definitely like staring me down as she was peeing.
Are we ready? Are we ready for a nice crack?
Ooh.
Nice Diet Coke.
I'm sorry, but Minnesotans would never say that.
No, they're Pepsi people.
Yeah.
Heathens.
Yeah.
I remember when I went to your mom's, and it was Mountain Dew or Pepsi, and I was like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this swill? And I drank more Mountain Dew, because I literally couldn't force myself to drink Pepsi. I, like, had to gag it down. And your sweet mom's like, help yourself to anything. And I was like, bless you.
I literally couldn't drink either of those.
I would
die.
She was like, Bree said you like pop. And I was like, oh God, did she? Did she say pop? And then she had all that Mountain Dew. And I was like, I guess I'd rather drink Mountain Dew than Pepsi. And I drank more Mountain Dew in that week than I've never drank Mountain Dew before that, nor have I since.
Aunt Connie has hooked us up since and provided the Diet Coke.
Yeah. Bless you, Aunt Connie.
Yeah.
I don't know how to process that. Like
I didn't know what to do. I saw it and I was like, oh my God, I'm among Pepsi people. I was like, how do I speak to them?
Do you
The true
have Dr. Pepper?
The true divide. That's the real political dividing system is Coke versus Pepsi people.
Neither.
Oh, Carrie's one of those.
Dr. Pepper.
Makes your pussy stank.
What?
Coke?
No, Dr. Pepper.
Nah.
I'll enjoy a Diet Dr. Pepper on occasion.
Oh no, I like Dr. Pepper. But
It's not my go-to. Diet Coke is my coffee.
Then. God, you're not
Hi,
happy with how I'm holding you. Go
Come
get
here,
her.
baby.
Come here, honey.
See, I just don't drink sodas in general. Like, if
Yeah.
I do, it's
So
rare.
I enjoy soda, but fizzy water replaces it for me.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
been I've stopped really drinking coffee, and I drink tea, and I drink a ton of water now. But I still have a couple. Like Diet Coke is my vice. It's my daily routine drink, and I know it's terrible for me, but oh well.
She's making her spot comfortable.
Can you not, or maybe keep going? Because I want hardwood.
Hey-o, winky face.
Same. But also, she won't. Trust me, she won't tear it up. She does it to my bed all the time. And
Oh no, I know. Which dog does it? I think it may have been Scotty. Because schnauzers are like burrowing. They have like digging claws for rat chasing. It's not going to help the carpet though, honey.
she said, and make my spot comfy.
We should put a bed in here for her.
Oh my god.
That's my lap. Come here, honey.
Lap.
Hey, come here.
Okay, I think I'm done with lore. I'm super sorry, guys, but I fell asleep while finishing my history notes last night, and I've been busy, and my computer's
You're good.
dying.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's okay. We've got bubbles and fun stories.
Oh yeah.
I have a lot to unpack with mine, so
Yeah. I could have gone one direction and talked about talked about the curse of Kansas City.
Ooh.
It's the one that traveled from Lubbock.
Is it a haboob?
Haboob.
No, I'm still salty about the Super Bowl.
Oh.
Because Kansas City played like Texas Tech did.
Oh, this is football again? Oh my
Catherine
god.
said, fuck this, I don't
I thought it
care.
was something cool. Did you see my interest? Like my little cat ears flicked in your direction. I was like, ooh.
And Catherine's like, and now I don't give a shit.
Okay, can you...
Yeah, so no, I'm still salty because Kansas City played like Tech did, and it made me sad. Anyway, no,
who cares?
Let me
Cry
transition.
me a Missouri
Let me
river.
transition. My actual story is literally just so perfect, though. I found it and I couldn't help myself.
Cry me a Missouri river.
Boo. But also buckle in because I became heavily invested in this narrative, and there's a lot. So I have a lot of history for this one. It's technically not in Kansas City; it's in Liberty, which is
Home of Willie and Jewel.
Liberty, liberty, liberty.
I sang that earlier.
yeah. And then of course, me and my choir director self saying, "Do re mi, re do, mi re do."
Oh yeah, she did do that earlier. You
Classic
did that
catchy
earlier.
tune.
Ah, yes. Rocking with the easy solfege. Anyway, so sorry, not sorry about the length of this. I got really excited because it's the Belvoir Winery.
Oh.
Oh, this good.
Yeah, so unfortunately it's a boutique winery and I couldn't get their wines here in Texas or order it online.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Otherwise, I would absolutely make y'all drink haunted wine.
Oh, I thought you said cunted wine. I was like, what?
Haunted. Haunted.
I bet you there's a market for cunted wine.
I would sell the fuck
Prison
out of
wine?
cunted wine.
Ew.
Toilet wine?
Ew.
No.
Why'd you do that?
Prison wine. Hooch.
Well, it's like,
Cooch.
so there's a lot of marketing play on words we could do for this idea. It's just like a wine tampon that you just insert. Just like, you know how people used to get drunk doing that? Like models and stuff so they don't gain weight?
Yeah.
That's so dangerous and sad.
Yeah,
do that.
super dangerous.
Please don't do that. Anyway, so
But it's an idea.
yeah.
There's obviously a market, just saying. If you're
What
not
I was gonna transition to was Liberty is about 30 minutes away from Kansas City, or about 17 miles for those of you who don't actually gauge things in time like I do here in Texas, because
Yeah.
apparently that's a Texan thing.
Well, miles mean nothing here.
Miles literally mean absolutely nothing.
Oh, for real though.
But it's northeast of Kansas City at 1325 Oddfellows Road.
Go Cardinals.
It
I
is
think that's
on,
what they are. They were red, so I'm gonna say.
sure, but it is on the Missouri side, so you know.
My sister was only an athlete there. Why would I know what her symbol is?
Yeah. So, I'm going to start a little backwards today and actually begin with where we are now, because I got a lot of quotes from the guy who now owns it.
Take us
So-
on a journey back in time.
Well, currently,
She said nope.
yeah, no. A few years ago, Jesse, I'm going to call him Lime Cooler,
That's amazing.
because it's LeimKuehler.
Hell yes, his name is Lime Cooler.
So I'm going to call him Lime Cooler. Cooler? I don't care. It's going to be Lime Cooler. But he's a recurring character. I do get a lot of quotes from him. But he opened this newly refurbished Belvoir Winery and a little 9-room inn, which we are totally staying here.
Dream!
We can get 4 of the 9 rooms, bringing Jack and Daisy with us.
And I have a room to myself, suckers.
Spread it out. That's right.
You and Nita.
Fuck off.
I don't know if they allow dogs, but we can just sneak her in.
That's
She'll
what
fit
they
in a
said
purse.
about the lake house.
Anyway, so the winery is open for tastings, weddings, and private events. The grounds are gorgeous. We need to include
It's a
some
beautiful
pictures.
area.
Yeah, like we need to get some pictures up of it because it's stunning. They did keep the original woodwork when they renovated, so it's authentic.
Nice.
But they did
That
update
is
the
my
amenities to make it a 5-star inn.
Oh,
It's cute. I looked at it. I want to go.
We could go to Morning Day, which is a vegan and gluten-free brunch place. They have like gluten-free pastries that are absolutely incredible.
Guys, I work remotely now. So
Let's go.
when
Summer
we
trip.
drive to Iowa to get my shit, we go through Missouri anyway.
I'm telling you, haunted road trip, because
Yes.
Hell's motherfucking yeah!
But
We
can
can make
actually-
a loop south.
well, we can claim that
And
we're
then go
going
up.
to get Brie stuff in Iowa.
Yeah. And then we can go
Colin
back through
could go to
Kentucky
Iowa, 'cause
and
we
go
need a foot
to the
driver.
Waverly Sanitarium, which we still need to go to Kentucky.
Spooks.
All the spooks. Anyway, I did take a peek at what wines they offered, because
Of course.
why wouldn't I?
Wine and not.
Why not? And they did have some...
Oh my god, I'm sorry.
I snorted! And I snorted at Bree's face because I thought she was making a face at me, and then she burped and it
So
rumbled.
That was a hot mess of a moment.
I was trying to be quiet. It was like, Catherine snorted, and I kind of laughed, and my mouth open. It was like,
I thought your face was making a face at me, and then it just burst forth.
And I just dribbled seltzer all down my face.
You guys really should watch us. We are even more of a train
well,
wreck
we
than
would have
it
to
sounds.
actually fucking record ourselves, Catherine.
Ew. But
Anyway.
we have to look like an adult.
I know. I literally took off all my makeup because I knew when I got home I just would want to fall asleep because I have to get up early because Kroger didn't have my order ready before I came over here. Thanks, Kroger. Anyway, so they offered a...
Okay, Nana.
Right? Like, she's literally going early for the early bird hours for the old people in the morning.
Well, because of all the weather coming in, they're like, you might have to wait up for like an hour. And I was like, fuck you. I'm going to get there at 7:30. Give me my food, bitch. You couldn't give it to me at 4 in the afternoon yesterday. Golly. Anyway, wines. Unique variety. But they had a fortified wine named Booze. Like BOO''S.
Yeah, these are people.
Wait,
I know.
fortified wine is the
Port.
one I don't like. Oh, no, I do like port.
Yes, you like fortified wines.
I do. What is the one that the sherry I didn't like?
Yeah. And you just downed it.
That's because I didn't like it, but I was like, I'm not wasting this.
And then you got really drunk.
Yeah,
What up, LA?
Vodka.
But wasn't LA one of our most listened to episodes?
It is. It still
So,
is.
what was last week?
Istanbul?
Okay, yes, Istanbul. We were all trashing Istanbul. So if Istanbul is our most famous one, we know what the people want. Sloppy drunks.
Oh
Telling
yeah, because
history.
Rome is also one of our top.
Oh,
ones.
we were drunk at Rome!
Drunk as fuck in Rome.
How-
I threw up that night. Also because of other things.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Istanbul is Constantinople. Istanbul. So catchy, my God.
But anyway, so they do acknowledge that it's haunted, hence why I have quotes from Mr. Lime Cooler.
I drink him.
A cold, tall glass of water. I messed it up. Keep going.
All right, so now on to the history and what makes this place haunted. Or
The ghosts make it haunted, Carrie.
Exactly.
Fuck you, bitches.
No, Carrie was like, that is true, I guess. I saw the struggle. She wanted to say something, and she's like, damn it, she's right.
Yep.
Well, I have so much history on this place. Y'all, I literally cut out so much information to get it down to the most succinct that I could.
And you still had 4 pages. I counted.
I know.
Because I was like, ooh, is mine too long? I was like, oh, no. It's like 2 pages. Carrie got 4. Fuck this shit. We good.
I got super into it. I was really excited.
And
And I also,
winery is your alley.
and with, y'all, this place is perfect. Like, I am going to
Carrie's in
manifest
love.
myself here.
You should go on an anniversary trip.
Yeah. I have to go on my fucking honeymoon first.
Oh yeah, we've given up our honeymoon dreams.
Well, we've already paid for ours.
Yeah, we fought them and got our money back.
I'm still going. Because if I have to push back another year, they're going to give us a further discount. Which they already gave us a discount on top of the discounts we already had. And so what should have been...
better.
What should have been $3,600 a person is now $2,100 a person.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thanks COVID for saving us $3,000.
But also
But also, I just want to go on my fucking honeymoon.
And it's so bad. And be safe. And when you get the vaccine, please be careful.
Oh,
and
yeah.
plan to be safe afterwards because your girl was on her ass from her COVID vaccine.
You know where you'd be safe? a 240-acre home district for the Missouri International Order of the Oddfellows that was built in 1900.
Order of the Oddfellows.
Order of the Oddfellows. So part of that deep dive that I did...
Sounds gay.
Not necessarily, but it was where the Belvoir Winery started out.
Certainly gay.
So the Order of the Oddfellows was a fraternal organization / secret society.
Oh, so gay. Oh, God.
Including in-depth codes and rites.
Oh, fuck yeah. Okay, what you guys have to understand, when we say gay, we love gay.
Oh,
Gay
yes.
is still good.
Yes.
It's not a disparagement of any
No.
kind.
I literally mean homosexual.
Yeah.
Like, these are gay men.
Yeah.
Well, it was
Secret
also
society.
this was a family-oriented deal. Like, it was a group of families and the men just happened to.
They can have families. It's 2021.
Not in 1900.
Literally not.
Literally not 2021. It was literally 1900. But being part of the Oddfellows organization basically meant life and health insurance for its members and their families.
Oh, so they're just socialist.
Basically.
Cool.
Yeah.
Pretty close, according to some administrations. Continue.
I went on a real deep dive with like all their like rituals and things. Very fascinating.
Yeah.
Can we start our own secret society?
We've already talked about this. We're going to.
Yeah.
But I feel like we talked about our cults, but I think we should have a sub in like
This is going to be us. We're gonna have a
Okay.
240-acre home district, and we're just gonna run all of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm down.
This
I
is
have a bakery.
we're getting there.
I'll be in charge of the cat herd. Actually, no, that should be Jack and Daisy. Jack will have a little shepherd's like hook, and I'll be like, "Come here, kitty," and Daisy will be like, "Jack, get the cat," and I'll be like, "Come here."
Yeah, no, this is literally gonna be us. So lost my place. Okay, so they created a district of buildings, including an old folks' home, which is literally what they called it in all the articles. It wasn't like a home for the elderly. No, it was the old folks' home.
That's what we call them in Pennsylvania.
Yeah. I mean, we call it
In
like
Iowa, too.
senior centers or like nursing facilities.
No, they old. They know.
Yeah. An orphanage, a hospital, a school, and they have their own cemetery. Only three
all
of the
them old folks' homes.
hence the ghosts.
Oh, so sad.
That is sad, but it's true.
It's very Giver-esque.
Yeah, we'll get to more detail with that later. Only 3 of the buildings still stand. The administration building, the old folks' home, which they typically just call the home, capital H, and the hospital. From what I read, the orphanage was within either the home or the administration building. It kind of went back and forth. It may have changed over, and I'll get a little bit
Based
more
on
onto
the
that.
space.
Yeah. But it was not a standalone structure, so the orphans were kind of all over the place. Poor babies. The property is
At least
both...
they were being taken care of
Oh.
in a small community.
Yeah. And so the property is both architecturally and historically significant, as it has been well preserved since 1900. And when asked about the nursing clothes and hospital equipment and the school supplies that still remain, Lime Cooler said, "It's still hanging there. It hasn't moved." Cool. Glad you're chill with it.
I mean, that's cute that they had like supplies and stuff for them though. Like clearly
yeah.
they had their hearts in the right places.
Oh yeah, like this was a full-on community that cared about all of its members.
That's nice.
Yeah. And so the buildings are a prime example of Jacobean revival architecture.
Beautiful.
Nice.
Of course, we couldn't have old buildings without a fire. In February of 1900, they were trying to thaw some frozen pipes.
Oh,
I feel that,
This
as
is-
we are freezing right now.
This is an ironic tie-in to my angry phone call.
Yes. The first home structure was burned. After that, they designed, quote, completely fireproof buildings. Don't worry, there were actually
So they
no
thought.
more major fires. So, kudos.
Good work.
Yeah.
Guess it worked.
Yeah.
Stone tends to not light on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. The three...
Also cold as fuck.
Yeah. The 3 remaining buildings were designed by different architects over a period of 23 years, from 1923 to 1956, but all maintain the core design aspects and distinct characteristic.
Smart.
Sorry, I had to burp in the middle of that. For those who love architectural history, these buildings are a gold mine of information about materials and techniques used. They're really cool.
Yes, I
Yeah.
love architectural history. I just love architecture.
Oh, yeah.
You too. And I know
It's
nothing about it
fascinating.
besides the fact that I like it. But that's okay.
Yeah. And that's all I really need to know. As I mentioned earlier, this district was designed for the community of the Missouri International Order of the Oddfellows, and part of their work was to care and educate the elderly, poor, widows, and orphans, in addition to its members and their families, including the widows and orphans. And so it would be widows and orphans within the community, and if a member died, their widow and or children, if say their wife had already died, would also be still taken care of.
That's nice.
Yeah, so I mean, they cared for the community. This property was maintained by those who lived there who could physically work. That way it wasn't charity. It was more of an almshouse situation, which was common in Missouri during that time. An almshouse, for those who don't know, which I didn't know, I had to look this up.
Alms for a pitiful blood man.
An almshouse was a piece of land
Sweeney
that was
Todd.
owned or leased by many, and they worked it together, which sounds like what this was. But the distinction between the almshouses in this district is that the almshouses had a tendency to be really run down, and the district was a modern facility complete with heating and plumbing.
Oh.
So they were bougie.
Yeah, at that time they sure were.
Yeah.
Like it, they took care of their people. Another major difference is that they kept both children and the elderly, oof, on the same site. The children for the almshouses were typically sent to an orphanage offsite.
Sure.
The Oddfellows district was basically a predecessor to the social programs of the 1930s. Shout out Jane Addams and the Hull House. What?
Another Chicago throwback.
I know. I got all of them tonight. The farmland provided for the residents. A quote from the Belvoir website, quote, in 1901, it produced 1,883 bushels of oats, 2,000 bushels of corn, 500 bushels of Irish potatoes, 3 tons of hay, 7,863 gallons of milk, and 325 dozen eggs.
That's the most Iowa shit I've ever heard in my life.
It continues. Livestock included 3 horses, 52 cattle, 175 poultry, those would be mine, and 15 hogs. Nearly everything was kept for consumption at the home, but occasionally some sales brought in needed revenue. So, like,
Did
they
have
were
bees?
self-sufficient.
I want the bees. I'll have an apiary.
I'm gonna have all the chickens.
Yeah, you are a chicken person.
I'll maintain that livestock. Top product right there.
I'll pet them and then walk away.
I'm not afraid to stick my hand places.
I know you're not. That's why I'll do the bees.
I've had to do it before.
I'd much rather get attacked by bees than stick my hands in someone's vagina.
Had to do it before.
Or anal canal.
Rectum.
Yeah. That's not as fun.
But normally it's stressful.
Yeah.
Because they're like having a baby or trying to... No, they're sick. See, I couldn't do that. I said.
Yeah. Been there. Stuck my hand in that. Overall, this was a thriving community. The children would perform music and literary recitals for their elders.
Oh.
And they had, quote, moving pictures.
Ooh, so hip.
They were. And in the 1920s, some boys constructed a crystal radio set. So that way they could just listen to the radio.
Cute.
They would have book, magazine, and newspaper subscriptions for the residents. They had Sunday school at the home, in addition to providing transportation to other churches in town if they wanted to go there.
Okay, so it's like very not culty.
No.
I was gonna
So
say, is
it's
it
not
like
religious
mandatory?
based.
No.
And they were not disconnected from the outside world.
Right.
Okay.
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
So, like I said, like it's going to be us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once a month, they would sit down for a birthday dinner to celebrate those who were born that month. And they always celebrated holidays.
Aw.
So, like...
So it's like a family.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
That's more, yeah.
The old... Yeah. So moving into more of the building-specific things. The old folks' home was at the center of the property, but it wasn't just for the elderly residents. So it said the children lived there, too. And,
That's where the orphanage was.
but then in another article, it said in the administration building, and so that's where it kind of became unclear. But I do know that there were children living in the home, and that's why they just called it the home. And at first, the children outnumbered the elderly. So in 1912, there were 52 adults, averaging in their 50s, and 111 children, mainly orphans. 20 years later, in 1932-33, there were 236 adults and 98 children, which happens to be the peak And if we think historically, that's during the Great Depression. So it makes sense that people would be seeking shelter in a place like this. The numbers did eventually drop again with the social programs that began popping up in the 30s. And by 1951, the home provided residents... Words are hard.
Just staring at the phone.
Yeah.
You look like Aunt Connie when she has her readers on, but still can't fucking read it, and it's like 10 feet away from her face.
Well, it's because I have 3 lines in a row that are like H, 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 and then P, P, P. And I'm like, I can't tell which line is going where. I have to have a serif font because I'm old.
We know.
Yeah. So my interpretation of that stare was
correct.
Accurate.
Was I can't tell which line is which word.
Oh, I've done that before too.
Yeah.
Though. If they look too similar, I'm just like, oh, fuck.
Oh, yeah, no, it's literally H, H, H straight down and then P straight down to the next one. I'm like, words are so hard. Okay, anyway. By 1951, the home provided residence to permanent hospital patients only. This gives a good segue into the hospital building. The Oddfellows couldn't refuse an applicant to the community due to disability, so by 1905, they had need for a hospital facility on site. The original facility was in the old folks' home, but that wasn't cutting it. So they built the hospital in 1923. Shout out to the birth year of Texas Tech. Wreck 'em. Got a lot of that going on. Also, I wrote that little portion on like the founding day, the birthday of Texas Tech. So wreck 'em Tech.
We both just scoff.
Yeah.
Caw.
Got a lot of pride right here.
Yeah, what the fuck is that bullshit? And the hand thing? I'm like, no.
But no one goes to UNT for school pride, so it's fine.
It's true.
It's true.
I mean, school spirit is like the thing for Texas Tech.
Oh, God, I would hate it. I don't have spirit. I don't.
No, we don't.
I am way too spirited. Anyway, so this was a well-equipped facility and basically the only medical facility in Liberty, so they did accept patients from the outside community. Unfortunately, due to this, it quickly became overwhelmed, and the narrow hallways and doors did not help it at all. So I had to put this in here to... Words. Oh. I forgot my order, and... Yes, so I had to put this in here. The home was a strong source of education for the children and the orphans within the home. Education, important, good.
Yeah.
Taught children and orphans. The orphans were children.
Says a teacher.
Says teacher. Brain tired. We are May tired in February. Anyway, so they had a very good education system. They even had music classes. And they were apparently so good that they eventually made tours around the state with their band.
Cool.
Shout out. This was a time when education past junior high was not really common, but the Oddfellows valued education, so they provided quality education through the children's college prep, which I'm like, kudos to you. Good job.
Right?
As I mentioned earlier, however, the population of children did end up decreasing, and they ended up tearing down the old school building. To wrap up this little history section, the cemetery on property provided services to members such as a cemetery plot, headstone, and burial service. It was also typical for the elderly who didn't have arrangements who died there to be buried there, and so it was a well-used cemetery, and there are still 600 bodies there. Yeah. All right. So this place is famously haunted. I actually got a lot of information from news sources, so news stations would cover this, and that's not really common. Other than saying like, oh yes, this is the history of this place, and allegedly it's haunted. No, this place was like, oh yeah, this place 100% has ghosts, and here's the evidence we have. And I'm like, oh,
Ghost
news.
Hunters did a thing there.
Ghost Hunters, Ghost Adventures, we're going to talk about it. It's a whole like section of this. We got investigations here. So, one made a bad joke about there being spirits and spirits.
What a silly joke to make. I don't think we would do
never
that.
made that.
It's-
Even on the Instagram. Never.
It's literally in my bios.
I know, I wrote it.
No, I mean like in like my Twitter bio.
Oh, no.
No, like my personal bios. It's like
Gotcha. I thought you were talking about your About Me. I was like, I know, I wrote it.
no. I said, man, I can't remember how I phrased it, but I just put general spirits, and I'm just like, hee hee, I'm so clever. As we just heard, this place has a lot of history, and so it's no wonder that there's a shit ton of activity here. Lime cooler.
That'll never not be funny.
Yeah, it's a...
Poor guy.
No, good for him. He's a
His
party.
name's probably like Liam Cooler or something. Or
Kohler?
Yeah,
I think it's
Kohler. Kohler, that's
Kohler.
what it is. Yeah.
I think it's German.
Yeah.
Like Liam Kohler.
Yeah. I was like, I know this isn't it, but I'm just going to go with Cooler because I can't remember the other one.
You knew there was an H in there.
Well, it's Kuehler.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be cooler.
Cooler?
That's why I'm just calling him lime cooler.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he has a lot of quotes about ghosts. His first experience was seeing the apparition of a little boy in a red shirt and blue knickers.
Knickers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
They had to use the word knickers because they wanted to show the time period passing,
Yeah.
as in he was not a living little boy.
Mm-hmm.
One article was like, in time inappropriate clothing, and I was like, don't be dumb. But he was also wearing little brown boots. But he was standing in front of the fireplace. But Lime Cooler could still see some details of the fireplace through the child. The child was there for about 5 seconds and then disappeared entirely. When recalling his first experiences, he said, quote, I looked down at my arm and I had, like, big goosebumps. When they say, like, your hair stands on end, I mean, it's like a comb. It stands directly on end. It was crazy. I'm like, dude, so down to earth. Yeah?
I don't have arm hair anymore, so it doesn't stand on end.
What happened to your arm hair?
I got rid of it.
Fair.
Because my brother kept telling me I look like a gorilla.
How rude.
Really? Let me see.
It's gone. Feel it's soft.
When you get rid of?
Every day. I'm a hairy bitch. Have you seen my fucking head?
I mean,
Interesting.
I can make a really mean comment. It's not about you, but I'm not going to make it because I'm not going to be a petty bitch right now. We're talking about ghosts. I'm going to be a happy bitch. He said the first experience was intense and that it sent chills through... Wow, I mistyped that. Him. But I typed time.
There was Hyman.
Ew.
However, it did not stop there. Quote, I've seen like 3 apparitions. End
Like
quote.
3.
He says like a lot. And as someone whose 4th grade math teacher literally beat it out of her, she would call us out because she was the GT English teacher and the GT math. We were not allowed to say like in the middle of sentences unless we were making a comparison. Ooh. Here I called another. Quote, I've experienced a child apparition in the ladies' room.
Why
I've
are
also-
you in the ladies' room, sir?
Because he
Probably
owns the
cleaning.
place.
Yeah.
Oh, like he was probably working. That's fair. That's fair.
Continuing that quote, I've also experienced a lady walking across the doorway in the library area. I'm definitely a believer. Me too, dude. Lime Cooler leaves out a guest book for those who have experienced paranormal. Me too. I'm having a moment right now. Paranormal activity.
This was for the ghosts side.
It's
That
for
would
the
be
ghost.
so cute. Oh my god, that's the cutest. I bet you maybe they have been writing in it, but we can't see it because they use ghost ink.
Aw.
But they've been writing in the ghost book.
Well, the guest will apparently write over the ghost's entries.
It's okay. At least they're still included.
Well, it includes stories of guests seeing figures, orbs that dance, and a ghostly set of twins.
It's a chicken spook light.
I was
It's
thinking
The
more The
Shining.
Shining.
God,
Oh no, I was talking about the dancing flames,
Oh,
not
yeah.
the twins. Obviously, that's The Shining.
Come play with us.
Fuck no.
Creepy.
Bye, bitches.
He
They
states
were
that...
beaten to death with an axe by their father.
Yeah.
It's not their fault they're creepy.
No, it's sad, but they're still fucking creepy, and I'm not gonna come fucking play with you.
No.
I don't do dead children.
Come play
No.
with us, Danny.
So creepy. Anyway, he states that the guests will hear, quote, a lot of footsteps, voices. Those are pretty common.
He's so
Great.
cavalier. this man.
He's very chill about it. I mean, like, he not only, acknowledges that they're there, but embraces it too. He's just like, yeah, it happens.
Unlike in Lima, where they close off the entire
Nope.
floor.
That second floor, it's not there. This
It doesn't exist.
Don't worry about
I can see it. Nope, not there.
Nope.
It's
Nothing there.
invisible.
10 sets of guests were those who had left in the middle of the night because they were frightened. Quote, but we got a 5-star review from him online.
This man is incredible.
I like him.
Oh, yeah.
Even though I did just read a Yelp review, and apparently he was really difficult for this one couple to work with. So sorry.
Probably because he wouldn't refund them because they got scared by a ghost.
Fair.
So even his own daughter heard a little girl's voice talking to her.
No.
It's always the children.
See, but these are happy ghosts.
Oh, yeah.
These ghosts aren't like...
These are chill ghosts.
They're not...
Malevolent.
Well, they
No.
didn't have... Like, they were taken care of.
Yeah.
And they just died, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But, like, they died because life...
Yeah, life
not
happened.
because someone else intervened.
Yeah. So Lime Cooler will hear some of the ghost children playing. When it first started happening, his response was, quote, it's literally unbelievable. It should not be there.
No.
They're ghosts. Apparently, he's used to it now. Lime Cooler thinks that these spirits are finding their way in from the cemetery.
Oh.
Finding their way in.
Specifically to the 3rd floor.
Okay.
So I'm assuming that's where his offices are.
Maybe that's where they used to play, or they're like their schoolroom or something.
I don't know how many floors there are, because it didn't say in the articles.
It's
Yeah.
big. I looked at pictures.
Yeah.
It's
It's
beautiful.
large property. But we're going, and we're going to check this shit out.
Did I ever tell you guys about... So my sister's friend, when she was little, at their house, they had ghosts, and they were like little kids. And also, apparently there was a man in a top hat that kind of looked like Abe
Oh.
Lincoln.
No?
Was it Abe Lincoln?
No, it's fucking Iowa.
You never know.
Well,
Illinois. I was like, Bree, he's literally
I
from
know,
right
but I
next
almost
door.
said my city and how unlikely that would be, but I didn't want to say where I was from. But no, the kids would they had a rocking horse and play on the rocking horse, and they had marbles, and they would just hear kids giggling and talking upstairs and marbles rolling, and
If
they
you
go
have
up and shit
marbles-
was out.
In this day and age, you deserve to be haunted. Those are not fun toys.
I come from a poor town, Catherine.
I have marbles.
If you have,
I had marbles too.
if you have,
That still.
Well, I don't know where mine went because I moved multiple times.
but if you have marbles, you deserve to be haunted. They are made to roll across the floor and make spooky sounds in the middle of the night. I'm sorry.
I keep mine in a nice little bag.
That's where mine were too.
And they stay in their little bag. In the past few years, the Belvoir...
Hey,
Just
my
abruptly going
story
straight back.
was related.
All right, so in the past few years, the Belvoir has attracted the attention of psychics and ghost hunters. TV shows like Ghost Hunters, Ghost Adventures. There's a YouTube channel called
Ghost faces.
I was about to say. I literally was about
Another
to do that.
Supernatural reference. What up, SPN?
My favorite episodes. I fucking
So
love them.
good. But there's a YouTube channel called Creeps with a Z.
Oh, that came up when I searched it too.
Yeah. And travel channels featured it on Most Terrifying Places.
Oh my gosh, what if our podcast gets picked up by the Travel Channel?
Travel channel.
That would be
Fund
amazing.
us.
I thought you said Fonda, like Jane.
Fund us.
I was like, bitch, what?
I could rock that hair
Nah.
with a wig.
But fur, Travel Channel.
Hit us up. We'll clean up our language if you fund us.
Did you hear the first episode? That was my language cleaned up. And it was Ak.
It was awk. You also, didn't drink until halfway through your segment.
Did you want me cussing or not? I literally said dang it in that episode.
Gosh darn it!
Darn
it!
What in tarnation?
Oh! Son of a biscuit.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so...
Oh, my Lanta.
I've said all of these things before, though. That's that thing.
So, a quote from the investigation done by Creeps. I don't know which one said this. The article just didn't say. It just said an investigator from the YouTube.
The YouTube.
Because they're older. But after seeing movement on their SLS camera, quote, "I don't really want to step into this. I've got to face my fears." I'm like, okay.
Okay,
Is
as a
it
child.
like their show?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is their investigation.
So, what?
They saw movement and they're like, I'm supposed to go in there, but I don't really want to go in there. But I'm gonna go in there. Okay.
The hero we all need.
Oh yes.
Sorry, I have no idea what your show is like. Shout us out on your YouTube channel.
Hey, include us on a investigation, and we can.
We'll bring snacks.
We'll bring snacks. I'll bring alcohol. It'll be a party. There have been many sightings over the years. Visitors have reported seeing people in the crowd that didn't quite seem to fit in with modern time, or they'll get glimpses of shadow figures. One man even reported seeing a spirit peeking around a corner.
He said, "Peekaboo."
He said, "Oh, what's going on? Oh, okay."
Catherine, what the fuck are you looking at right now?
A ghost. It's stuck on the screen. It's still going.
Okay.
Yeah, look at the bottom. You see it's ticking.
I could just see her face
Okay.
turn directly toward me, but I could
No,
only see half her face.
it stopped moving, so
Yeah.
I was just making sure it was still working.
Yeah. Some guests have felt touched by an invisible hand or feel like they're being watched. So still not malicious, but definitely not okay.
Like a virgin. So touched for the very first
See, I was thinking
Not by an invisible hand.
every step you take, every move you make.
A few guests have reported that they have felt their shoulders being grabbed, but no one was around them.
At least it wasn't a creepy ass massage from your creepy uncle.
True.
Oh God.
Gross.
Yikes. Trigger warning.
Yeah.
Should have prefaced with that, Brianna.
It's common to hear disembodied whispers and laughing and seeing orbs or apparitions around the property.
Disembodied things. Yay.
Yay. Many have experienced the spirits of children on the property. The administration building apparently was once the orphanage. And when an investigation team began singing "Mary Had a Little Lamb," their meters began lighting up.
Aww.
That gave me chills.
They just want to
Good.
play.
They
They're
did.
babies.
That's creepy as fuck.
They're the difference between Brie and I.
I want to go and be like, "Mary had a little lamb," and be like, "Where are the spirits?" And then Catherine's
I'm, like,
dying. She's
knitting
about
them
to be a
sweaters.
spirit.
Children.
Yeah. Bree's not afraid of the ghost. She's afraid of the fact that they're children.
For real though.
Oh yeah. One team was using dowsing rods in a building that was used for food storage, and they got a lot of activity because supposedly the orphans used to hide there to avoid doing their chores.
Yeah, little shit.
Iconic.
When they were asked,
but that's so cute. Like, they felt comfortable enough to do that. Like,
Oh, yeah.
they weren't afraid. So
Well,
they were taken
and-
care of.
when they were asked questions like, "Where are your friends?" the dowsing rods would point to different spots in the room.
Aww.
And do y'all know what dowsing rods are?
The little.
They're not little. They're kind of
But
big.
they're thin, and they're
Yeah.
like...
Kind of. So they're L-shaped. And so
Okay.
you'll hold onto the small portion and you try to make sure that it's
I'm thinking
as
of a
flat as
divoting
possible.
rod. That's
Yeah.
for water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're L-shaped. You hold on to the short end and try to make sure they're as parallel as possible and have kind of a loose grip on them so that way they can turn easily.
Cute.
And so, usually you'll say, like, point them together for yes, point them out for no. Are you a male? And they'll point directions. Were you born in this time period? And they'll point. But apparently they were asking them, like, hey, where are your friends? And they just, like, point. And then point.
Aw.
And then point.
And at that point, I would shit my pants. I'm surrounded by fucking ghost children.
They're like, you find us,
Well,
finally.
this is going to
Start
be you, though.
screaming
It's been 100 years.
uncontrollably.
It's about time.
This next one's going to be you. When the investigators left the room, one of the women felt like she was being hugged.
They would.
And Brie would be like, ew, I don't hug people. And the ghost would be like, bro, I'm just trying to, like, make you feel
I just
welcome.
want
And
you
you'll
to-
be like, but I'm not a touchy-feely person. The ghost would be like, all right, respect, boundaries.
Accurate.
Man, I'd hug
Accurate.
a ghost child. Come here.
I would cuddle a ghost child and then take them home with me and have them be happy forever.
You're going to scream.
Yeah, Brie Bear said, I don't want a ghost child. I'm your baby.
So others have seen apparitions of children playing and singing, specifically Ring Around the Rosie, through the hallways.
No. That song is creepy.
Yeah.
It is.
Plague! Shout out to London again! And everywhere else.
So,
And the tale of Sweeney Todd.
literally, my next sentence was, some thought that was creepy, screw those people. We haven't gotten to creepy yet.
I don't like that song.
The song is terrible.
All children's songs are fucking terrible. Especially French children's songs.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
The only French children's song I know is about a cat stealing cheese, which is right up my alley.
They're all about, like, body parts and tearing things apart and
Oh, yeah.
creepy things.
I'm meant to be French. So one common experience is hearing the spirit of an old woman singing, and others will hear the piano playing on its own. That's me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be the old woman just
It
singing
is
through the
you.
hallways. That's why I said this story's perfect. It's haunted, it's a winery, it's self-sustaining, and there's an old woman singing that's eventually going to be me.
Is it
So-
still self-sustaining?
I don't think so.
Okay.
We'll just buy the property and make it amazing again.
We can just team up with Lime Cooler.
And I will teach the hordes of ghost children to be our minions.
Fuck yes.
They will do great in the cat herding.
Yes. But also now we get to the creepy part. Another apparition is that of a mischievous old man.
Oh, no thank you.
And by mischievous,
Is he handsy?
one of the investigators from the Creeps
Damn it.
YouTube channel said, quote, he told us he believes there's an old, I'm assuming Lime Cooler, it didn't say who he was referencing, it just said he. I'm assuming Lime Cooler.
Not the ghost.
Not the ghost. Because it's then going to say that there is an older gentleman in that area, and he believes that it's his place, and he wants to be left alone.
So he's a normal crotchety old man.
Get off my lawn!
Oh, yeah. Honestly, I'd probably feel the same way, old man. The team heard a deep growl coming from the, quote, mischievous man's room. And so they obviously had to go check it out.
Yes! He's just like...
Yeah, me too.
Get out of my hallway! You know what time it is!
You fucking Scrooge!
Oh, yeah.
Humbug!
So the woman that went to go check it out said that as she approached, she didn't even go in, as she approached, she felt an oppressive feeling like doom and dread and decided to go no further.
Me every day.
Same.
waking up.
And
Doom and dread.
speaking of feeling doom and dread, the old hospital can bring out those feelings as well.
Okay, but hospitals are sad.
Yeah.
This last little experience, ugh. So the building is the oldest there remaining, being the one that was built in 1923, and is by far the most haunted. There wasn't much describing specific experiences and apparitions, but one investigator had to sit down for a bit after feeling unsteady. But when she stood back up, she stumbled, hit her head on a wall as her eyes rolled back, and began sweating profusely.
Girl, me too.
When she came to, she had no recollection of what had happened.
God, that low blood pressure's a bitch.
And that is the Belvoir Winery that we will one day go to, stay at, and experience all the ghosties.
That'd be great.
And drink wine.
So I
Lots
feel
of
like
wine.
these stories have all been very lighthearted, about to get real fucking down.
This is why we need
Oh.
to switch time.
Oh! I forgot. I was going to tell you guys. So, I shared our post on Instagram to my my personal Instagram story. And someone sent me a message. And they're like, oh, by the way, a serial killer. And I was like, ha ha ha, you know me.
Bless.
And then gave me a name and everything. And I'm like, yes, I'm getting serial killer names to my inbox now.
Yes!
Perfect.
I'm about it.
Well, we're doing one of the big boy serial killers. So I feel like it's been a while since I've done like a super, super well-known case. There's hours of information, podcasts, documentaries, everything. We're doing Dennis Rader,
Yeesh.
who is most commonly referred to as BTK killer.
Yeah.
So, BTK stands for bind, torture, kill. He's not technically in Kansas City. He's Kansas, but it's a small enough state that it was within easy driving distance, so I'm counting it. There's been a lot of stories in Kansas City because it is an older city, but I wanted to do a heavy hitter because he has a lot of victims that I feel like need to be talked about. So, convicted of 10 murders. He taunted the police, newspapers. He stopped killing for a decade. And then resumed sending letters in 2004, was arrested in 2005. And he's still alive, and he is in jail for life in a correctional facility in Prospect Township in Kansas. So he's still there.
Yeah.
I don't think he's died yet. Like, I couldn't find a death information. So, let's talk a little bit about Dennis Rader. Yeah, so he's 75. He is still alive. He grew up with multiple siblings, low-income household. Felt his mother didn't pay enough attention to him because she was working full-time.
Yep.
Started with kind of the classic serial killer beginning. He was born, parents worked, paid little attention to their children. He resented his mother for it the most age. So even when he was little, he had sadistic sexual fantasies, torturing, quote, trapped and helpless women. And he also liked to torture, kill, and hang small animals right off the bat. Wait till you hear his jobs that he had. I literally, every single job that I read, I'm like, how did no one notice? Okay?
Right?
Yeah.
So he had a lot of sexual fetishes for voyeurism, autoerotic asphyxiation, and cross-dressing. Those are not bad in themselves, but coupled with, torturing and murdering animals, probably not a good thing. And I would like to point out, cross-dressing is nothing like being trans. It's a completely different thing.
Absolutely.
It's not the same thing. And I don't know if sometimes people don't understand that, and they like to use that as an argument against our trans friends, and that's bullshit. So he liked to dress up as women and wore a women mask so that he could hang himself and watch so that he could see a woman being strangled. It is complete misogyny, nothing to do with being transsexual. So that's my little... Anyways, he spied on female neighbors and stole their underwear that he would wear, and he would tie himself up, like, around the neck whenever he masturbated. Ugh. So he had, like, a thing with binding, but not in, like, the consensual, safe partner way, in, like, the murdery, tortury kind of way.
Yeah.
So he had pretty long cooling off periods for a serial killer, and he would literally tie himself up and take pictures of him in a woman's mask and wearing clothes that he stole just to, like, relive his crimes. He kept them really well hidden, like they do, and he was normal, polite, and well-mannered. Of course he was.
Because you don't want to fucking draw attention to yourself.
Yeah, so he went to college after he graduated and failed out after a year, joined the Air Force, and he was in there for 4 years, discharged, moved to Park City. He worked in the meat department of a supermarket. Where his mom was. So, like, his mom, like, literally got him a job, and he's still holding all this resentment for her. He did get married, and they had 2 kids. Carrie, spelled with a K, and Brian.
That's where you went wrong.
And his wife, actually, is one of the most, like, her response makes the most sense of any other serial killer wife, and I'll talk about her.
Okay.
Then he went to community college, got a degree in electronics. He enrolled in another school and got a bachelor's degree in administration of justice. So many red flags. But, like, to the world, at the time, they're like, oh, wow, this father working hard getting his degree. And now, in hindsight, you're like, oh, my God, he literally was a ticking time bomb. So he worked for an outdoor supply company first, and then he started working for ADT Security Services.
Naturally.
If you watch Mindhunter, he's the little clips that you see that they, in both seasons, that they don't address, but it's him. He literally installed security alarms to homeowners that were worried about BTK. So he'd go and be like, oh, well, I'm going to take care of you, and put in security alarms to families who were worried about getting murdered. I can't. So he also worked as a census field operator, literally going around talking to people, finding out all their information. Then he became a dog catcher and compliance officer. His neighbors recalled him being overzealous and extremely strict in the care of the animals.
Weird.
As well as taking special pleasure in bullying and harassing single women when they had their pets. And a neighbor even complained that he killed her dog for no reason. Yeah, he, like, loved taking and kidnapping, and, like, if a woman, like, didn't have her dog on a leash, he would, like, take them and kill them, and, like, loved, So, like, he's, every single job is, like, a massive red flag. And again, hindsight's 20/20, but if I saw someone with this, and then he was also a member of the church, he was elected the president of the church's council, he was a Cub Scout leader, literally every single box. But he was caught, and his wife immediately filed for divorce.
Good.
And got an emergency divorce, so she didn't even have to do the waiting period.
Good.
Like, he was caught, he confessed, she had a divorce immediately.
Good.
And that, to me, is what a sane woman would do. So, his daughter, in 2019, said that she still writes to him, to her dad, and she said that she's forgiven him, but she can't reconcile with the fact of
That's
what
horrifying.
he did. Yeah. She said that she had a normal American family childhood. So, thankfully, his family didn't receive any of the pain that he inflicted, but his family...
They have to deal with what
I feel like reacted in the best way that they could.
Yeah.
So, his first murder, so his beginning's a little bit different. And thinks that they're responsible for a lot more. But, so his first killings was a family of 4.
Oh.
A husband, a wife, and their 9-year-old son and 11-year-old daughter. And he killed the whole family in 1974. So, long time ago. He was killing for like 30 years. So he killed the whole family, and what I think is interesting is that the men, he put a plastic bag over their head, the little boy and the dad, but he strangled, like manually strangled the little girl and the mom. So I think this was his, like, learning what he liked.
Well, I mean, it's easier to overpower women.
Well, he used a rope, so, like, I think it was more, like, holding a plastic bag and holding a rope is, like, the same. But I think he liked to watch their face for the women. Yeah. And that's kind of what happened. That's what I think.
I was thinking suffocation. You know, you have both the strangulation and the suffocation going on.
Yeah. Well, and he hung the little girl, too.
Terrible.
He was playing. So, next victim was stabbed. And then after that, it was all strangling using different means. So, a rope, a belt, his hands, so manual strangulation, and then
it takes a lot of work.
Oh yeah, and then 2 sets of pantyhose, which we've talked about a lot. And most of those were young women in their 20s, except for there was...
Were they assaulted?
Yes. And there was one 53-year-old and one 62-year-old who was his last victim. Oh. So as he got older, it kind of looks like he started picking older victims, except for there was a 28-year-old in between the 53 and the 62. But there was a huge cooling off period after the 25-year-old and the 53-year-old. And so I'm just going to read you their first names real quick. So it was Joseph, Julia, Joe Jr., and Josephine, which is literally every single name on my dad's side of the family. So then Catherine, Shirley, Nancy, Maureen, which is like a really pretty name.
Yeah.
Vicky and Dolores. So they're confirmed killings. So we're going to talk about a little bit about how he was caught and like his tauntings, because they're, again, very like stereotypical. Like, I don't want to be like, come on, man, but like he literally did everything. So in 2004 it was considered a cold case, and basically he was tired of not getting credit, and so he sent 11 communications to local media. That led to his direct arrest. So the people who were on top of this were on top of this, and they had him in custody and convicted right away. So the Wichita Eagle received a letter from someone using a return address, Bill Thomas Kilman, and he claimed that he had murdered Vicky, and enclosed photograph of the crime scene and a photocopy of her driver's license, which was taken.
Yeah.
So he literally proved that he had information from the crime scene. It had not been definitively established that she was killed by BTK. The DNA from under her fingernails provided police with previously unknown evidence. They began DNA testing hundreds of men in the effort to find the serial killer. 1,300 DNA samples were taken and then later destroyed by a court order.
Wow.
So they went to every person who could have been the person and was like, hey, give me a DNA sample. And these men, obviously, who were innocent, complied.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they're just testing everyone, which I know there's a lot of uproar about whether that's legal or not. These women and these children and a father were murdered. And if you've done nothing wrong and it can get destroyed, I feel like I would do anything I could to help.
Right.
That's just me.
Well, also, if you have nothing to hide,
Yeah.
like, are you afraid they're going to find out something?
Yeah, I don't know. And
Accidentally
I can
be
understand
convicted,
being like,
even
can
though
you
there's-
destroy
would
it
be-
after this case? But like,
Yeah.
because you don't want them to like clone you in the future. I don't know. Whatever. I know that's a big hot topic right now,
Yeah.
but it got justice for these people. So,
Right.
I
I think it comes down to selfishness,
yeah. Well,
which I think is the root of a lot of our problems in America.
sure is. He sent a television station a letter with fake IDs, a word puzzle, and chapter headings for the BTK story, which was a book idea that he had, and he wanted someone to write it. So he sent
Fucking narcissist.
he sent the information for him.
But I mean, serial
It had
killers.
graphic descriptions of the family murder and a sketch labeled "The Sexual Thrill Is My Bill."
Oh, no.
And he wanted there was a court TV crime writer, David Lohr, who wrote a story and he mimicked it. Chapter 1 was titled "A Serial Killer is Born." He dropped a package in the public library, claimed that he was responsible for the death of 19-year-old Jake Allen in Kansas earlier that month, but that wasn't true. Jake was ruled a suicide, and it was found to be a suicide.
Aww.
But so poor Jake was lost, and then BTK tried to use his death to gain more traction for people to pay attention to him. But, like, are we surprised? No. So during his interrogation, he admitted he'd been planning to kill again, and he had set a date in October of 2004. So right before he was caught, he's like, oh, they're not paying enough attention to me. Guess I better start murdering again. Essentially, and I hate him so much. In October, a manila envelope was dropped into the UPS box. It had cards with images of bondage and children pasted on them. A poem threatening the life of a lead investigator, Lieutenant Ken Landwehr, and a false autobiography with many details about Rader's life. So it was fake, but he actually was giving them clues. These were later released to the public, and Wichita police received another package from him, and it was found in a park, and it had the driver's license of Nancy Fox, which was noted stolen from the crime scene, as well as a doll that was symbolically bound at the hands and feet and had a plastic bag tied over its head.
Oh.
He literally, he wanted to be caught at this point. He attempted to leave a cereal box in the bed of a pickup truck at Home Depot. The box was discarded by the truck's owner. It was later retrieved from the trash after Rader asked what had become of it. In a later message, and surveillance tape of the parking lot revealed a distant figure driving a black Jeep Cherokee, and he left the box in the pickup. So he left it for someone, and the guy was like, "Who put trash in my car?" and threw it away. But the police were able to find it and find footage of him.
Good.
Like I said, the police are working hard.
Yeah.
It's just, even with you don't think he's that stupid to leave as many clues as he did.
Shit.
Plus, he was much older. So much time had passed.
He may have been bored or tired.
Oh, he
of it.
was. He was.
Yeah.
He was having a midlife crisis. I just can't.
I mean, I think his whole life was a crisis.
Yes, but this was like, oh no, am I irrelevant? This is what was I hate him. I can't. He's such a freaking stereotype. He is such a I don't want to say no creativity because that sounds like I'm glorifying him, but he's just so not important, and the way he holds himself up high, he's like, oh wow, I'm this amazing serial killer. I'm like, you're an absolute trash human being, and I'm so glad you're gonna rot in jail, you ass. So he sent more postcards, left another cereal box that had another bound doll, and that was to symbolize the murder of 11-year-old Josephine, so the little girl that he first killed. So he's literally bringing up his child victims because he wants attention.
Attention whore.
Yeah, I don't know, something about his like the arrogance.
Like I said, he's a fucking narcissist.
The whole poor me, I'm so special. I cannot, like,
you're not special, dude.
Well, and the serial killers with mental illnesses or serial killers that are like clearly so deranged. But this guy literally just, like, copied what other people did and then acted like he was just so misunderstood because mommy had to work.
Boo-hoo.
Like, get over your... Like, I literally can't. He is just an evil human being who tried to justify...
I have more childhood trauma than you do.
Go
fuck yourself.
I hate him. Like, I have never heard such a whiny bitch in my life. And this is... I can't. So, in his letters, he asked... if they were on a floppy disk, if they could be traced or not. The police answered his question, newspaper ad, saying it would be safe to use the disk. He sent in a purple floppy disk to a TV, and with it was a gold-colored necklace with a large medallion and a photocopy of a cover of Rules of Prey, which is a novel of a serial killer, which also, he's inspiration for a lot of people. Like, Silence of the Lambs, Red Dragon, kind of, he's inspiration for all these people, and... I hate that he gets to know that. Unknown to Rader, still stored on the floppy disk, was metadata containing the words Christ Lutheran Church. So he literally did this at the church that he was, like, head of. And, like, a church that, like, seems to be, like, a really healthy church community. And the document was marked modified by, quote, Dennis. Because it was saved in the floppy disk. And the police were like, yeah. Send us the floppy disk.
I know. Like,
It's old school. It's old school. It's not going to work. And you're like, They're like, this boomer. He's not going to know.
You're a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
First of all, you don't ask the people.
Well, also, again, I think he wanted to get caught, but I just want to make fun of him because I hate him so much.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they drove up. There was a black Cherokee in front of his house. Strong circumstantial evidence, but they needed more direct evidence to detain him. So they did like, his daughter is incredible.
Is this Carrie?
Yeah, but
What up, Carrie?
They gave her a pap smear. They obtained a warrant, got a pap smear from his daughter.
Jesus, how old was she?
I'll have to look at her birth date. I think late teens, early 20s. At the Kansas State University Medical Clinic, and it showed a familial maps between the pap smear and what's underneath her fingernails. So that indicated that the killer was closely related, and combined the other evidence, that was enough to arrest the police.
Can you imagine how hard
girl,
that would
Carrie.
be?
So, well, I don't know if she volunteered, or if it was literally by a warrant. But why did they have to do an invasive pap smear?
Yeah, I was going to say.
Why couldn't they have done a blood or a cheek swab? I don't understand the science behind it, but I feel like that's extraordinarily traumatic for her.
Yeah.
Also, like, I hate pap smears in general. Like, there's a reason I haven't been to the doctor in 3 years.
I don't know.
I know I'm going in March.
Like, it's so, like, and men don't understand. It is so violating. And I know it's a medical procedure, and I know men have to have their balls cupped and all this other shit, but, like...
That's external.
Yeah, exactly. You don't understand.
This is going
so
inside of our
violating.
bodies.
Yeah.
And you can feel it pinch inside your body.
And then they, like, fucking manhandle your damn ovaries.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, the little scrapey bit that they use to take the sample is, like, metal wire inside your fucking vagina. It is so fucking invasive. It is violating.
I literally had to leave work after my last one 3 years ago because I almost fainted, like, afterwards. Just, it...
Like, people don't understand. And, like, the trauma of, like, hey, we think your dad's a fucking serial killer. And then, like, we're gonna shove shit up your vagina to get a DNA test to prove it.
Well, like and I like I said, either she's incredibly brave and volunteered to do this in order to make sure that these people got justice, or she was being traumatized and forced into it.
Yep.
Either way, I don't understand how this was her burden to carry.
Yeah.
Right.
Did the son not have blood?
Right.
If they were able to get a warrant for her pap smear,
I'm wondering what hoops they had to jump through.
why couldn't they get his DNA sample? They couldn't get a warrant for his DNA, but they could for his daughter's.
That's weird.
I don't know what's behind it. Maybe she had already had the pap smear and
Maybe.
they just got
the records or
access
something.
to
Yeah.
it.
That may have been it.
But I don't know. Like I said, I had a hard time figuring it out. But
Yeah, it could have been they had to get a warrant for the doctor
to get it from something that was already done.
Yeah, because that would make more sense.
Yeah, but then she has to deal with the guilt that she's the one who locked her father up if that's not what she was planning on doing. Like, I don't know. I am glad that they caught him.
Yeah.
But I don't know why his daughter was... maybe that's why they had to do a medical procedure that already was, so they had her pap smear on file. But
from the mom's response, the wife,
yeah.
you know, I'm pretty sure she had a level head and was able to talk with her children to say, hey, you know, this is what's going to happen. Your father's literally a fucking serial killer. I understand he is your father still, but...
He'd been married to his wife in 1971 and then got divorced immediately in 2005. Yeah.
34 years.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
No.
34 years. He was like his son's freaking Cub Scout leader. And, like, you look at pictures of him and you just want to punch him in his goddamn face.
I know some people like that.
I don't think you do. Not like him. not the serial killer.
They're not serial killers, but they're abusers.
Yeah.
And I still want to punch them in their goddamn faces.
Yeah.
I want them to rot in jail.
I don't know. I'm the more I think about it, I'm assuming it had to be a previous pap smear. But still, it's just crazy. He's something else. He is something else. So he was charged with 10 counts of first-degree murder. The AP said that he confessed to other murders in addition to those with which he had been connected. And the attorney denied this, but said whether Rader made any connections to investigators. News sources claimed to have verified by multiple sources that he confessed to 10, but no other ones. His bail was set at $10 million, and a public defender was appointed to represent him. The judge entered a not guilty plea on Rader's behalf, as Rader did not speak at his arraignment. The scheduled trial date, Rader changed his plea to guilty. He described the murders in detail and made no apologies. So, August 18th, and this is 2005, victims' families made statements, after which Rader apologized in a rambling 30-minute monologue that the prosecutor likened to the Academy Awards acceptance speech.
Wow.
Yeah. It's an example of often used phenomenon among psychopaths, their inability to understand the emotional content of language. He was sentenced to 10 consecutive life sentences with a minimum of 175 years. Kansas doesn't have a death penalty at the time of the murders, and on August 19th, he was moved to the El Dorado Correctional Facility. He talks about things all the time, such as the weather during the 40-minute drive to El Dorado, and began to cry when the victims' families' statements from the court proceedings came on the radio. He's in solitary confinement for his own protection, with 1 hour of exercise per day and showers 3 times per week. He will likely continue indefinitely. Beginning in 2006, he was allowed access to television and radio to read magazines and other privileges for good behavior.
Yeah, I'm sure people wanted to kill him in jail.
Yeah.
Like, what a terrible human being.
Yeah. And so, I didn't really talk about what he did to his victims, but bind, torture, kill was literally...
Yeah.
Self-explanatory.
Pretty self-explanatory. I'm not going to talk about... He did, like, horrible things.
Yeah.
So, a psychologist, Robert Mendoza, hired by Rader's court-appointed public defenders and gave him a psychological evaluation. So, he was diagnosed with narcissistic, antisocial, and obsessive-compulsive personality disorders. He observed that Rader has a grandiose sense of self, a belief that he is, quote, special, and therefore entitled to special treatment, a pathological need for attention and admiration, a preoccupation with maintaining right order and structure, and a complete lack of empathy for his victims. Yeah. And, like, every single choice he made in life clearly shows that.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think that's even us, like, doing a lot of research on this. I think any person could be like, this guy thinks he is a gift.
God, I hate...
Yeah. I can't. I just hate him so much. But Red Dragon, I mentioned that earlier. Red Dragon was written before he was identified. So it was written without any knowledge, but loosely based off of him. And there, like I said, there is hundreds of information that you can, like, hundreds of different sources. But it was some good police work of the cops basically playing his game in order to get him caught. And it seems like they'll never actually get justice for the family, but at least he is behind bars, and that those families can know that even after 30 years they were able to catch him.
Yeah.
Because literally his first murder was 30 years before he was caught.
Yeah.
So that family, at least...
That poor family.
Yeah. For 30 years it took, but they did catch him. And so, like I said, I didn't want to get too grisly with it, but there's tons of information, and I hate him so much, and I don't know why. Like, obviously, I hate all these people. Like, every person that I cover. But sometimes I can be like, oh, that's sad. Or like, oh, like, I'm sure that was a traumatic experience for you. This guy, I just literally cannot stand him. I truly think he's one of those cases where he was born as a horrible, horrible person.
Yeah, yeah.
And, like, he doesn't have frontal lobe damage. He doesn't have a mental illness. Well, he does have a mental illness. But not a mental illness that's going to put himself in danger.
Right.
Which, a mental illness that could put you in danger always makes me be able to empathize with you a little bit.
Yeah.
Not him.
No, he was just
him.
narcissistic.
He literally thought he was so important. And I hate him.
Yeah. But we do not hate our listeners.
No.
And we are so thankful for you for listening to this episode.
Putting up with us for this long.
Yay!
We hope you enjoyed this episode. Goodbye.
Bye.
Follow us on Instagram at Darkside Tour Guides and on Twitter at Darkside Guides. Give us a like on Facebook at Darkside Tour Guides. Visit the blog at darksidetourguide.wordpress.com or email us at darksidetourguides@gmail.com.